This is a friendship that'll never ever end.
Greetings and welcome to Winning 2024. How's everybody doing out there this evening? Hope you're all doing and living well. Let's turn these on. There we go. Thank you to all of the Winner Circle members. Scrolling there at the bottom of the screen. Thank you for supporting the channel, and thank you to Shelly and Wolfram for also supporting the channel over on Rumble. I am broadcasting on Rumble, X, and YouTube as always. And tonight we will be running through the latest in election 2024 coverage, as well as what's going on at the Communist Convention in Chicago and the most based July 13th updates in the scene. There you go. How's everybody doing out there? Let me say hello. T-Rex Trucking and More is here first. And he says, don't forget that overturning Roe v. Wade took away electric from women. Yes, it did. Yes, it did. Murph, what's up? How you doing? Hey, Wolfram. Thank you for dropping these links. Wolfram, remember to listen to the wolf. He knows what he's saying. He wipes his paws, lives in the house, and he is here. And so is Cool Gamer. Cool Gamer, what's up? How you doing? Shelly's a little under the weather tonight, so she may be in and out here and there. But let's see. She is getting some rest this evening, so might not be talking too much. See, I watched the DNC. Day one was enough for me. Couldn't do it anymore. Yeah, I don't. I mean, once you know, right? That's the whole thing. That's the title of the one of the titles in the stream tonight was the DNC Chicago mind control event, because that's all it is. That's all it is. You know, when everything's based on a false premise, that everything that's coming after that is going to be complete subversion. And they're still spreading the same old lies, the same old people they don't have any respect for. Oops, that's not the one I wanted. Let's see. I wanted this one. Okay. You know, and that's what they're doing. Like, I can't hardly watch it either. Hey, T-Rex is back. What's up, T-Rex? You know, and that's why I know I'm not covering it. I'm not going to broadcast it. I know it's clicks and views, but I couldn't make my crowd sit through that. We're way too far down the road for that shit. We really are. I mean, once you know, you guys have eyes like no others. You see things that others don't see, because you've been hanging out with me and I've been showing you what's up. Man, I tell you, and we've gone on this journey together too. And once you see it, once you see through the veils of perceptions, of the veils they put up, there's no going back. There's no going back. We know what we're up against, so we know what we're fighting. So we've got to deal with it. However, we can observe it a little bit here from the outside and analyze it, right? It's there for us to analyze it. It was pretty incredible, right? Pretty incredibly manipulative. I mean, you know, and just to see all the people that were there just falling into it, you know, just makes you realize that mind control is real. It's very real. It's part of everyday life. It's out there. And inevitably, that's what we're fighting. And that's why I've always kind of went to that point. And when I talk about it, it does come down to controlling minds, hearts and minds, to control the minds and the hearts, right? That's what they're doing. That's what it's about. And that's what they've always been doing. And the thing about it is the more you think about it, the more you realize it's been going on your entire life, right? We were born into this. All of us were born into it. We were born into this war that's been going on. And we're just at a point now in our lives and in this history of our country where it's time to either stop it or prepare for the worst. That's where we are. That's what every day we're fighting for, is to avoid the worst. Yep. Let's see. Even Bill Clinton knew back at it's the economy stupid. Back in the well, yeah, of course it is. But you know, it's more than that, right? That's the baseline attraction. But really, it's the cycle of abuse. It's just that they have no care, right? They don't care that the means justify the ends, and they don't mind abusing and running over people and destroying their lives to get what they want, to create the situations they need to gain power and control, to turn people against each other. That's what we're dealing with. That's what we deal with all the time. We're talking about the establishment. That's what the establishment is. It's a corrupt establishment of power in our country right now and in the world. And that's when we must resist. And we do that by unrigging the game, by understanding how they rigged the game. And that's what we do. So tonight, we're going to take a look at all that stuff and more. Hope you guys are having a great day out there. Thank you for being here with us. And let's get into it. All right. So to kick things off, we're going to talk about DNC mind control event in Chicago. And I'm going to go through highlights, but not going to go through anything substantial as far as giving one of their talking heads a platform. However, we will analyze it with analysts. It's one of our favorite analysts tonight. And let's start off by talking about Joe Biden. Buh-Biden. Well, at least one pedo out of the way. However, I think we all want to see justice. We'll see if that ever comes about. I think the justice is that the establishment loses power. That would be the greatest justice of all. But Joe Biden loses it at the DNC and final farewell to nation. And like I said, I predicted it was going to be a blow smoke up Joe's ass event, right? And they were all like, "Thank you, Joe. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you." You know, he's like, "Fuck you guys." Joe Eva. All right, let's get into it.
Sadly, last night was the last time that we're ever going to see or hear from Joe Biden again, because the Democrat Party has washed their hands of him and sent him off into the sunset to retire. The Democratic National Convention kicked off yesterday, and as a courtesy, since they stole the nomination from him, they gave him a speaking slot at nearly midnight, where he aired his same old grievances and spread the same old lies about Donald Trump that he and the Democrats and the liberal media have been spewing for 4 years.
And Donald Trump said, and I quote, "There are very fine people on both sides."
I mean, he just won't stop lying. He won't stop lying.
God, that's what he said.
That's not, yeah, that's what he said. Out of context. I mean,
not a joke.
That is what he said and what he meant.
Come on, man. As usual, he did yell throughout most of the speech and have a couple Freudian slips and stumbled over his words quite a bit, like admitting the obvious Democrat plan here.
No riots yet.
Tom and I are committed to strengthening legal immigration.
Strengthening illegal immigration. Yes, you are. At least there's some truth right there.
Illegal immigration. We know. Would you like to embarrass yourself one last time in front of a national audience, sir, before the Democrat Party is completely finished with you?
Women are not without electoral.
The whole convention is extremely bizarre because it was just about a month ago that old Joe sounded like this.
Well, guess what? They're trying to push me out of the race. No! Well, let me say this as clearly as I can. I'm staying in the race.
Who's the they, Joe? It certainly isn't Republicans. We wanted you to stay in. At one point during his speech, the chant, "We love Joe," broke out, and a brilliant cameraman captured Nasty Pelosi looking extremely uncomfortable and mouthing the words along with the crowd, trying not to look guilty as hell. Jake Tapeworm over at the Clown News Network, who surprisingly a couple times a year actually does seem like a real journalist. Brooke Clock is right twice a day, and he did confront Nasty Pelosi about her, well, I mean, participating in the coup, although he didn't put it like that, but listen.
You know what?
You know what? She's already getting uncomfortable.
Have you talked to him?
I have to do what I have to do.
Right.
He made the decision for the country. My concern was not about the president, it was about his campaign.
Her concern wasn't about old Joe. It was just his campaign was being mismanaged. So they needed to replace him instead of his campaign managers. The Democrats issued an official apology, also known as a land acknowledgement for the convention, where they noted that the Democratic National Committee wishes to acknowledge that we gathered together to state our values on lands that have been stewarded throughout many centuries by the ancestors and descendants of the tribal nations who have been here since time immemorial. Blah, blah, blah. We're sorry. The white man is bad because they took it from the Indians. Ooh, I'm sorry, the Native Americans. And thank God they did, because what a fantastic country they built until the Marxists have now virtually destroyed it. But you get my point. The whole thing was intolerable. And you guys help me one, because you know that I watch CNN so that you don't have to, because you definitely don't want to see the first gentleman, Kamala Harris's husband, Doug, cozying up with his daughter there.
Odd.
I don't know what he's doing with his hand down there by her belt, and I don't want it. There was also plenty of projection, the Democrats accusing Republicans of the exact same thing that they themselves are guilty of, as usual.
Donald Trump would be able to weaponize the Department of Justice to go after his political opponents.
Yeah, that would be awful. That would be terrible. You should never do that.
He could even turn the FBI into his own personal police force.
Did people forget that he was already president for 4 years and none of that shit happened? I mean, there's. Well, he didn't do it last time, but he's going to do it this time. He's going to do it because we did it to him. And he has to get his back, right? Or is that just the way it is? I mean, yeah, exactly. Again, when these people speak, they're speaking to their mind controlled base. They're not speaking to people like us. They know we see through their bullshit. They know it. They know that they can't win us back. So all they can do is try to silence and discredit us. That's all they can do to us, right? And then eventually run us over and violently end all of us. But right now, when you hear them talk, you have to understand they're never, ever, ever talking to you. They're never, ever talking to most people. They're talking to their mind-controlled base. That's when you know that, when you hear it, you can totally see that's what's going on every time they open their mouths. That's why Joe Biden has no problem sitting up there lying about the same old lies he's told a million times, because he knows the sheep in the crowd, right, will eat it up and believe every word of it. All right. They don't know. They don't have the information. They don't have the ability to reach the information to find out that he's telling a lie. They're just comfortable in that reality. And that false reality they live in.
I mean, and then raid the home of Joe Biden, just like the Biden Justice Department had done to him. January 6th committee member Jamie Ratskin had a slight teleprompter malfunction.
Oh yeah,
someone should have told.
That's like, what do they call that? Memento. They're trying to get out in front of it, right? So that when they do, they like, see, that's what they're doing, without ever mentioning, hey, this is what they did. Or this is the way, honestly, they should all be locked up and prosecuted. I mean, how else are we going to get rid of them? Right? We keep playing this game, this perception game. We're scared of what, their base may think. Who cares? Their base, to us, is lost. We may be able to pull a few of them out as they have their moments of clarity as time goes on. But in no way is there going to be, they're pretty much just gone. I mean, it's like the Matrix, right? They say that these people are plugged into the machine, and even though they're victims, they're still your enemies as long as they're plugged into it. Yeah.
Donald Trump that the president's job under Article 2 of the Constitution.
Yep.
Somebody should have told me that Hillary Clinton was speaking last night, because then I probably wouldn't have tuned in, and I will spare you even a split second of her speech. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez
Sandy.
was fairly entertaining, however, doing her best impersonation of a black preacher.
And I, for one, am tired of hearing about how a two-bit union buster thinks of himself as more of a patriot than the woman who fights every single day.
I mean, complete communist actor right there, right? Saying all the things and all the ways. Yep, Sandy. Sandy says it all the way. She's well trained, at doing what she does. She's, clueless, completely indoctrinated, a complete useful idiot. But she's now a seasoned professional at mass indoctrination, mass subversion, spewing and pulling people in the direction of her very, very extreme radical left point ideology.
To lift working people out from under the boots of greed, trampling.
I mean, dude, listen to her. She must have practiced this in front of the mirror, looking like a 2-bit bartender. Yes.
On our way of life.
May I remind
In our way alive. Dude, what a phony baloney. And people think that she's good. I mean, she's just an agitator. She's really just an agitator, a manipulator, a gaslighter. I mean, she's fighting for basically the destruction of the country and her own destruction, but she's not smart enough to realize that yet. That doesn't come till later, until the boot comes out. What? I'm not going to have equal rights? What? I'm not going to get to be the... I'm not going to have all the power? What? No. Sandy, go back to the bar. Go back to the bar. My favorite was the lady who was given the name by Native American tribes, white woman who speaks loudly. Even the natives were like, give her a name, maybe she'll go away. Who is that? Who's the lady? Warren? Fake Indian who speaks loudly. Hey, Outpost, what's going on?
you that the big television networks, all of them, ABC, NBC, and CBS, interrupt their regularly scheduled programming to subject the American people to the Democratic National Convention, where they got to see nonsense like this. Here's the United Auto Workers president.
Donald Trump is all talk, and Kamala Harris walks the walk.
Yay! Wait for it.
In the words of the great American poet, Nellie.
Nellie is not a great American poet. You cuck.
It's getting hot in here.
Actually, sir, or whatever your preferred pronouns are, Hulk Hogan did it better.
Yep.
When they took a shot at my hero, and they tried to kill the next President of the United States, enough was enough. And I said, let Trumpomania run wild, brother. Let Trumpomania rule again. Let Trumpomania make America great again.
Nice.
That's correct, Hulk. And that little stunt was the inspiration for my new
Trumpomania
Trumpomania shirt. You should order from my online store at markdice.com.
Mark Dice.
Click the link in the description below and check them out.
Thank you, Mark. There's a little synopsis of that. A little bit more on Biden's exit. We'll give him a little bit more time tonight. Let's see. Here we go. Sped up, of course.
Get rid of him. Nate Silver even brings it up. Donald Trump speaks on the last night of the RNC to thunderous applause, the prime time slot. Joe Biden's speech is on day one. It's pushed super late so that no one is able to watch it because half the country lives on East Coast time. And then the next day, Joe Biden, bye-bye, booted. Now I know what they're going to say. They didn't kick him out, Tim. You can't say that, blah, blah, blah. It is an opinion that Joe Biden having his speech pushed back super late on day one and then leaving right away is the Democrats saying, get out, Joe. You make us look bad. Talk about a sad state of affairs for Joe Biden to be tossed aside like a used rag by the Democratic Party. He
Sitting
cried.
off the glue factory.
Joe Biden cried last night.
Yeah.
Man, you know, look, that's a sad reality to
Thank
it,
you for
that
being
eventually
here.
you do
Thanks
get
for
old, you
listening.
become useless, and they throw you aside like a cheap used rag. Not everybody, though. Some people live on into great old age with reverence
Send them off
and
to the glue
remain
factory.
legends for eternity. Stories are written of these individuals, often exaggerated. Legends emerge, but not Joe Biden. Joe Biden, you were nothing. His first acceptance speech for the party nomination was during COVID with no thunderous applause. And he hoped, the man, he hoped, he wanted this at the convention. To thunderous applause, thousands of people screaming and cheering, Joe, Joe. Instead, they said, bye, Joe. Don't let the door hit your ass on the way out. Talk about sad, to be completely honest. So we definitely got to get into what went down at the DNC last night. That's the big news. And of course, Hillary Clinton said, we got Trump on the run, called him a convicted felon, and the crowd erupts. Lock him
I mean, this is what we're talking about right here, right?
up. Lock him up.
Yeah. Okay. So Trump could have locked her up. He said he didn't. He said he didn't think it would be a good idea. He didn't think it'd be good for the country. I disagree. I think he should have done it, but maybe he didn't have the backing at the time. Maybe this time he will. I still think he should, because see that they didn't take mercy on him. No, they sensed that as a weak spot, and they went right after it. And I hope that he has a good strategy for this, because she's not going to take it easy on him. They sent everything they had after him. So I hope he learned that, trying to be nice to bullies and trying to let the corrupt off the hook doesn't work.
And I love it because Hillary smiles. She's like, and the best part was when Donald Trump led the lock her up chants, he didn't lead them. The same thing happened. The crowd starts cheering, and then Trump's like, yeah, like whatever. The media was like, oh, God, they're talking about arresting Hillary Clinton. And now that they're doing it to Trump, it's A-okay, everybody. We're good. Hypocrisy. But my friends, while we revel in Joe Biden's misery, this man, and they cheer for their false criminal convictions against Donald Trump, which we can get into. Let me just stress this, because I know not everybody watching this show is attuned to the news all day, and there's probably some Democrats being like, fake convictions, Trump was convicted. I implore you, good sir or madam who dares challenge such an assertion, tell me what the underlying crimes were and read the charging documents. An unlisted crime. That's what Trump was convicted.
That's too much work for them, Tim. That's too much work. If they were that motivated, they'd already be on our side. That's the problem with the other side, is they know they're lazy. They know they're mentally and physically lazy. Well, maybe they're physically active and pursuing their vices and their feel goods, but mentally, they're just way too lazy. They don't have time for that. They got to get ready to go to the next party. They got to get ready to go to the store and get more beer, man. They don't have time to look into things that matter.
On unlisted. They say unlisted. What was the crime? You can't charge someone for a crime based on another crime that has never been adjudicated. And that's exactly what happened with Donald Trump. So spare me. You can argue that he falsified business records. I'm listening, but that's a misdemeanor. The charging documents say it's become a felony. It's aggravated because of another crime. That's all it says. Another crime. Which one? We don't know. So, my friends, those are false. But anyway, it results in people going, oh, lock him up. But we do have good news. You can argue that the Democrats are playing dirty. They have their victories. Certainly they do. Harley Davidson has abandoned its woke
argue it. They always play dirty. There's no arguing about it. There's no arguing about that at all. When did they not play dirty?
The Democrats are playing dirty. They have their victories. Certainly they do. Harley Davidson has abandoned its woke DEI policies after right-wing outrage. And I don't like to say right-wing because it's just bikers. Bikers ain't woke, dude. Sorry, Harley, you tried. So they're backing away from that. And then, of course, Disney is also reeling. The Acolyte has been canceled. For those who don't know, Acolyte was their new Star Wars show. I didn't care to watch it because it was something about lesbian space witches. Not an exaggeration. I'm going to stress this again. They had like a whole thing dedicated to what they called as lesbian space witches. Again, I am not joking.
He's not joking.
This was literally a thing in the show. And it, wow.
I did watch it. I did watch The Acolyte, and he's not wrong. He's not wrong. It was a very bad show. And now that it's canceled, we can all forget about it and pretend like it never happened. Harley Davidson coming off of the DEI. That was a survival move right there. Of course, we're reading Woke Inc. by Vivek Ramaswamy every Monday night at 8 p.m. We're up to chapter 11 now, I believe. We just finished chapter 10 last night. And that book right there that we're reading is explaining how this whole wokeness infiltrated private industry and why it's there, what they're doing with it, and potential solutions to get rid of it. Because we do have to clean up our private corporations from this mess as well, because they do help. They do, and they are dictating culture. If you think about how fast things change faster in private industry, right? So all of a sudden, here's the little things you don't notice, right? You're applying for a job, and it went from just like, listing your race for like demographic purposes, right? And you're thinking, oh, that's not a big deal. They just want to know, demographically who works what and whatever. It's more like, just keeping track of stats, right? But then you start to realize that those stats can be used to dictate who they hire, right? And then you see the gender. The gender goes from just being normal, right? Man, woman, right? To being subverted overnight. Suddenly all these other things are acceptable, right? And it's just the simple job application, right? Changing. How you enter into a business changing. That it's a slow creeping change. It's a cultural change. It justifies and validates the subversion of gender by putting it as part of normal business. So yeah, that's something we have to learn we have to figure out how to clean up. And that's why that book, Woke Inc. is a good book to read about that, because then you understand how it got that way in the first place. So I hope you guys will enjoy that with us. Even if you haven't been reading the entire book, the playlist is over on Rumble, on my Rumble channel. The link is in the description and in the chat. You can just pop over there and go to my main page and there's a playlist with all the book, with every chapter in the book there for Woke Inc. Also, Control Oligarchs, which we read first, and also The Great Awakening, which we read second. So we're on our third book. So if you like audiobooks, you want to catch up, go ahead and check out those playlists. And I do a kickoff show for all of those. So the first 45 minutes to an hour is kickoff show. If you just want to read the book with us, you can skip ahead there to the book. And I encourage you to catch up and enjoy the information that's in those books.
Flopped, despite the fact that it had rave reviews from the critics in the corporate press. I wonder why that is. So we'll talk about that, and we'll get into a bit more. We'll get your super chats in. So, of course, get your super chats in while you can. Before we get started, head over to castbrew.com. Buy coffee, because coffee tastes good. Appalachian Nights is what I have every morning. It is my favorite.
Okay.
And
I'm going to leave it at that. I think that's... Oh, okay.
For speech. Now, I got to tell you, I was actually really impressed that The Independent wrote this. Joe Biden's bitter handover speech will leave a stain on his reputation. Wow.
Wow.
Shot through with barely concealed anger, the U.S. president's address at the Democratic National Convention showed why his party was right to force him to step aside.
Ooh. Well, I mean, yeah, according to him, he did it on his own because he was scared of congressional seats, right? That's the new thing. Nora, did you ever watch Andor? Have you finished watching that yet? I've been meaning to ask you. Because Andor 2 season 2 is coming out soon, and anybody who wants I watched a great video on Andor season 1, and it's about the children. What did it say? Hold on, I have to get the word right. Infantillation, de-infantillation, infantilizing Star Wars, right? That's what Andor is. It's it's the Star Wars that all of us adults have always wanted. So you're in the middle of it now. I don't know how you could stop watching it once you start watching it. I had to binge watch it. It's so good. I've watched it twice now, season 1. I watched it once with Shelly and once with my son. He loved it. My son's 14. My son actually loved it. He's like, this is the best, right? And so luckily they're making another season of it, and it just goes to show you that there is still good stuff out there somewhere. But if they did more shows like Andor, I think they would do a lot better. Anyways, off topic. Back to the business at hand. So yeah, the Independent saying that they made a good call getting rid of him because it barely conceal his anger. He's always been angry.
Rarely do we ever actually get a glimpse through the window that reflects reality. But yeah, Joe Biden was bitter. He was pissed. They pushed his speech till nearly midnight. This is funny because
way past his bedtime.
he was supposed to speak at 9:50 Central, which is 10:50, which is ridiculous because people got to go to bed. Look, after we wrapped Timcast IRL last night, I'm like, what time is this guy going to speak? I got to watch it for work. It's my job to watch it. And so I'm laying in bed, eyes half open, and I just turned it off. I got to be honest, I turned his speech off. It was like 11:40 something, and I'm just like, dude, I got to wake up in the morning and get ready for a live show. I'm not going to sit until midnight to listen to this feeble degenerate explain any garbage about nothing that no one cares about because he's been ousted. I don't know. That's just me. You can tell me I'm bitter about it. But ultimately,
bitter, but he's not saying anything that's worth a damn. Everything's based on a lie. So, that's the whole thing about the DNC. And anytime the establishment speaks, the premise is false. So everything that comes out after that is based on a false premise. It's all false.
Just went to bed. I was like, later. This is Joe Biden's legacy. Pushed to late night and then told to get the F out. They booted him. Look at this. His schedule for today, they depart Soldier Field en route to Chicago O'Hare. Biden is not even, as the sitting president of these United States, going to be at the DNC. They said, Joe, speak late and get out. I said. Now, that's like a premium article. I don't know if we can actually read some of it. They say he finally said it right at the end of his speech that confirmed the wisdom of those who forced him to step aside as the Democratic Party's candidate. He was, quote, too old to stay as president. Joe Biden has not until now given a reason for his withdrawal from the election. This morning, it was on Fox and Friends. They interviewed.
Yes, he has. He gave it at an airplane interview, like on the side of an airplane. He said that he made the decision. Yeah, I need to talk to Nancy, a bunch of cover your ass shit. And then he said, it was because, they're worried about losing congressional seats. And then that would be all people would talk about because he may hurt congressional seats. And that was what his big excuse is. I'll try to find it for you.
Pete Buttigieg. And Buttigieg was asked, how come they did not, how come they waited so long to remove Joe Biden? And Buttigieg are like, no, we didn't do that. He chose to step aside. Why did he choose to step aside? Oh, because his ego. And he set aside his ego. They've not given a reason. But we all know. Here's the crazy thing. Okay. I can exemplify. I can give you one example very easily that defines the political state of this country. A bus offering vasectomies and abortions at the DNC. That's just it. They're literally saying, come on down, Democrats, line up, come in and sterilize yourself. No more kids. Get rid of the kids you got.
Right.
And it's fascinating because, I often say this. You go to any individual and say, have you considered getting a vasectomy? And they're going to be like, excuse me? Like, that's an insult. So
I'm going to keep everybody else dancing.
I genuinely believe Democrats hate their voter base. I'm willing to bet most of the Democrat leadership are probably conservative, but they're like, they just want to get rid of Democrats because that's all they do.
I don't think so, Tim. I disagree. That's a very bad take. And it's a very misleading take. Hold on, let me get your face up here. That's a very misleading take. They're not, both of them are conservatives. Do you even know what the words mean anymore, dude? No, they're all globalists, which is the globalism has adopted the Marxist ideology, right? They're just reframing everything. They're giving it all new names the way they do. They rebrand it all, right? And what they want is a tyranny. They want authoritarianism. They want complete control. And they don't want liberty and freedom. They don't want anything conservative. So no, sorry, absolutely bad take on that one. But we'll leave it at that. I want to show you something real quick. Oops, not that. I want to show you something real quick. Otherwise, not a bad report, but I mean, we're just looking at that for the initial take there. Let's check it. Let's check this out real quick. Hold on. So he said, no one's given an excuse yet, huh? No one? Really? Nobody. They haven't said why.
Oh, it meant a lot to me. Very nice.
Are you angry at Nancy Pelosi? Are you going to speak with her?
No, I haven't spoken to Nancy at all. I mean, look, no one influenced my decision. No one knew it was coming. What I decided to do was I didn't want to the extent that the party thought they'd lose Senate seats or House seats, that would have been the topic you would have had to cover the entire remainder of the campaign. And it wasn't worth it.
Tear it up a little bit. Was it emotional for you tonight?
Well, it was. I mean, the reception was pretty overwhelming. And,
You feel it was your choice, or do you think you still could have won?
well, you know, I always think we could have won. And if you go back and look at the numbers, we weren't that far behind. It was like we talked about how this week we were getting blown out. That's not what we saw. But it would have been close. But what would have happened, though, if the discussion had been, was I going to cost seats for Democrats, that would have been the whole subject matter for the remainder of the campaign. You'd have to cover it. That would be the issue, and it would give him an advantage. Anyway.
So yeah, that was that. There you go. There's Biden telling you why he dropped out. So whether it's true or not is one thing, but the other is, yes, he has given a reason why. So take it for what it's worth. You can say you don't believe him. I'm sure that that's not the entire truth, but you know, but he has said why. So again, I think Tim's just a little overwhelmed. He's running behind. All right. So the next part I want to show you is this. Speed it up here. This is another thing that he mentioned in that report. But watch this.
Pete Buttigieg, sir, thank you so much for giving us some time this morning.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
It was a big showing for the president yesterday. They put him at 11 o'clock, though, last night. And a lot of people were saying, we love you, Joe. We love you, Joe. But he's no longer the nominee. A lot of questions, though, about it, because the New York Times writes that all the cabinet meetings that the president has been having have been scripted. They said 9 months since the latest cabinet meeting. Axios writes that he's only available for work between the hours of 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. And then the Wall Street Journal says when it came down to the debt ceiling negotiations back in 23, Nancy Pelosi had to take over it. Is this the reason why he's no longer the nominee for your party?
That's funny. Sometimes I feel like conservative media and the Republican Party still think they're running against Joe Biden.
Mm-hmm.
See how he just deflected that? It's such, I mean, what a slime ball.
He had an opportunity last night to demonstrate his achievements, right? The fact that he is responsible, for example, for the biggest run of job growth in the history of the
Again, that's another fallacy right there. He's talking about the biggest in history, right? Because we're coming off the biggest because of the lockdowns and policies that went along with that. That's where the jobs went, right? So those jobs are just coming back. I mean, the biggest lie, and they sit up there and they act like it was some kind of great thing that they did, and it would have come back under anybody at any time that way. So no matter, even if Donald Trump had been in, which he should have been, that the same numbers would have happened the same way. In fact, they might have been better and they might have happened faster if Donald Trump was in. But these guys are acting like he did something, and they know that they're just lying to people that are too lazy to understand the world they live in.
The American presidency. I think in any job, but especially the presidency, you want to be judged by your results. People want to nitpick the show flow of a cabinet meeting when we have had a country that, when he inherited it, was in a condition where you couldn't even approach the Capitol because of the violent assaults on the Capitol.
What? Those are your people violently assaulting the Capitol. If that was the case, I mean, I'm pretty sure you could. I mean, you have a condition now where there's so many illegal alien violent migrants in our not migrants, but invaders in our country right now. Like, crime is through the roof, and we have no way to deal with it. They're not going to bring that up. They're going to say that you couldn't approach the Capitol. What? I mean, is it any better now? I doubt that. I don't think the Biden had a damn thing to do with that. But again, this is a guy who all he does is deflect and lie to people because he's a scumbag, and he's a scumbag in every sense of the word, right? And so, like, he has no problem using and abusing people. That's what he does.
By Trump supporters, not just getting our country moving on from that, not assaults on the Capitol by Trump supporters.
Oh, you're talking about January 6th. That was one day.
Not just getting our country moving on from that, not just getting our country back on its feet.
We've been moved on from that since February. You guys are the ones who hang on to that, even though your side does all the damage all the time. And that one setup that you guys did, and one little psyop you guys pulled there on that day with your insiders and your 200 federal agents and your and your your infiltrators, your informants, all these people that you've set up to make this thing happen, to orchestrate it, including turning down extra security, Nancy Pelosi, turning down the extra security that should have been there, right? The whole setup that you guys did, just like in Michigan, Whitmer and all those guys. That's what you're talking about. I mean, again, when you know the details of this stuff, you can see what a scumbag liar this person is, and how they have no respect for people that they say they represent.
From the COVID collapse, but all of the other things
I got you, Mr. Secretary.
including, by the way, delivering the infrastructure bill that Donald Trump promised and failed to deliver.
I know you.
No, he didn't fail to deliver. He had a good one, right? And then the establishment people would not allow it to pass. So, again, this is the lying scumbag this guy is. I mean, yeah, yep. And the Antifa that was let in the side entrance. Yep. Yeah. I mean, dude, we all know. But again, these people, when they talk, when they go in establishment media, when they're out, they're never talking to us. That's why we get so frustrated with them, because they're always talking to the dumbed down, too lazy, mentally lazy base that supports them, right? They have also conveniently forgotten about their actual treason during the Summer of Love. And that doesn't count. That was peacefully. That was because of Pete. They use these words, right? They use the words to manipulate. And again, they're always talking to the most laziest amongst us, mentally lazy people who like to be puppeted around by liars and scumbags and scam artists and grifters. They love that shit. They love it.
You got the talking
You want to go
points
off how many hours he's in which office at what time?
But these weren't conservative outlets.
Like, he actually, and like, we should just call him Pete the Straw Man. Budgies, whatever his name is. I mean, he's the master of strawmen. Look at it. He had an army of strawmen right there, didn't he?
I guess you could say the Wall Street Journal is, but
but you're a conservative outlet. The first thing you're asking about is what time is it a cabinet meeting?
He thinks he's got a point there. No, the first thing you did was avoid the question there, Pete. First thing you did, because you're a lying scumbag, and that's what lying scumbags do. They get there and manipulate people, right? They manipulate people. I bet you got some serious skeletons in your closet, and I can't wait till they come out.
Well, I just want to know, when did you guys know that the president was unfit to be on you?
The president is not unfit.
So why is he not the nominee right now?
Because
boom, boom, boom.
Exactly. Right. Again, Democrats, they think people are so stupid. And that's what pisses me off about Democrats the most. It's the fact that they lie to your face and they gaslight about things that are clearly true. Okay. That are clearly a part of reality. They deny reality and they say, no, that's not real. Okay. This is why I call the Democrats reality deniers. Okay. Because what Pete Buttigieg is saying here does not make sense. You cannot say that Joe Biden was one of the greatest presidents ever. He belongs on Mount Rushmore. This is what they've said, okay? And Pete Buttigieg, when confronted on the media reporting that, hey, Joe Biden doesn't seem to be up for the job, okay? He's not having cabinet meetings often, and when he does have cabinet meetings, they are scripted. He's also not around at certain times of the day or the night because he has to go get a nap or something, right? He's tired out. These are very legitimate concerns. And Pete Buttigieg tries to act like, well, it doesn't really matter because Joe Biden, again, he's the greatest president ever, right? He's done so much. Well, if that's the case, then why did he drop out, right? If Joe Biden was so great, if his policies were so great, why did he drop out? It doesn't make sense. You can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't say that everything that Joe Biden did was so great and that, the country's in an amazing place because of Joe Biden, but there was no nefarious reason for why he dropped out. Okay. He was so great that he decided, hey, you know what? I've accomplished so much. I'm just going to step down. My job is done here. Again, it just doesn't work that way, right? I'm not sure who is bonding to this BS, but this is what they pay people like Pete Buttigieg to do, to BS, okay? Democrats only send their best BSers to Fox News, and they're not even that good, okay? Because that is Pete Buttigieg's reputation, right? He's supposed to be a wordsmith, and he's trying to wordsmith his way through this interview, but it really just...
Yeah, not a wordsmith. He's a fallacy master. He's a fallacy master, right? And what you do in that situation is you just call out the fallacies as they're making them. You don't even like let them get away with it. Like you're avoiding the question. That's a straw man. You're throwing out a straw man argument. Can you just answer the question? The first question is this, right? You just hold them to it, and they'll probably usually get frustrated and run away at that point. But then you just proved your point. They didn't know what they're talking about. They're only there to mislead you in the first place.
It just looks bad. Okay, it looks slimy. It looks swarmy. It looks fake. Okay, it looks like you'll just lie about anything on behalf of the Democrats. Okay, and I mean, I'm not surprised because that is what Kamala Harris's whole campaign is built off of: lies and deceit and fakeness.
Why did you guys?
Because he did something that Donald Trump cannot comprehend, which is to put his ego aside.
What? The last thing Joe Biden's ever done is put his ego aside. It's always been ego with him. But they want to make Donald Trump out to be this really self-centered person. It's part of their narrative, even though he's probably one of the most giving people out there, especially compared to their side for sure. But that's what he does. Again, he's a slime ball. He's scum of the earth.
So they're trying to make this guy a hero. Okay, they're trying to make this guy George Washington. It's like, no, bro, he did not voluntarily step down. He didn't say, "Oh, well, I serve my country well, and I'm stepping down for the next generation." No, that's not what he did. That's not what happened. And they're trying to rewrite history and say, no, that's what happened. That's not what happened. And this is one of the reasons I really want Trump to win, is because if Kamala wins, the liberal historians will try to rewrite history and say that, oh, Joe Biden selfishly stepped down so that Kamala Harris could defeat Trump. And this is one of the reasons why he is one of the greatest presidents ever, right? This is what they'll say about Joe Biden. But if Trump wins, though, Joe Biden's probably going to lash out and say, I told you that I was the only person that could beat Trump. Right? Joe Biden would be taking a victory lap. I think low key, I think Joe Biden might be rooting for Trump. Low key, okay? Low key. I don't think that Joe Biden is the type of person that can put his ego aside. I think he was forced out because he knew that if he stayed in, the Democrats would make sure that he loses. I mean, at the point in which they all basically came out and said that Joe Biden needs to step down, I mean, he already was going to lose, okay? I mean, the genie was out of the bottle. There was no way he could really turn it around. So he was going to lose regardless. But I think that Joe Biden thinks that had that not happened, had Democrats not forced him out and came out publicly with it, that he would have won, right? I think he personally believes that. I think he's wrong, okay? But that's what he believes, okay? So again, to say that, well, Joe Biden's put aside his ego, no, that's not what happened, okay? Joe Biden still thinks that he can win, okay? He still thinks that he should be the candidate. He was forced out. It's not voluntary.
I just want to get my question out. Why do you guys wait to the last minute to switcheroo after everyone saw? Can I just finish my question? And I'll let you answer, Mr. Secretary. But you guys waited to after the debate where everybody in America saw what happened that day. And all of these reports are coming out that you guys knew behind the scenes, the cabinet members were frustrated, that he couldn't do the negotiations with Nancy Pelosi and that she had to take it over.
What negotiations with Nancy Pelosi? When
the
was
debt ceiling in 2003, when it came down to the debt ceiling negotiations, that she had to take it over because he didn't know the talking point.
He won the debt ceiling negotiations. That's the point. You can go over whether he slips up.
No, he just said Pelosi took over that. Biden didn't win it when Pelosi did it for him. It wasn't a win because everybody lost.
Up and says one name when he wants to say another name.
Yeah, that's not what this is about, Pete. Again, this is why I don't.
The straw man, the red herring. I mean, he's just a walking fallacy. The reason why it's the day and age of this type of false rhetoric. That's why, he seems like he's got it going on, right? That's why he seems like that they're like, oh, this he's great. Well, no, he's just great at manipulating the conversation into being absolutely nothing and getting his false narratives out. That's all it is. And it's because we allow this type of conversation instead of blowing it up when it starts. And this is what I'm talking about when it comes to retraining an entire, generationally, retraining people on how to deal with assholes like this guy, right? Whose only intention is to manipulate you and to get their way and to evil means, to the evil ends, right? If everybody knew that this guy was okay, he just jumped to a straw man, you can't listen to anything else he has to say because he's avoiding the question, right? He's avoiding having a real conversation. If that was the first instinct to everybody that listened to him, he would be nothing, right? And then it would be on him to be able to speak and have a conversation correctly. This is what we're missing. People accept this because they don't realize the language manipulation that's going on. So I haven't seen Jacob Peterson forever, but if he was here, we were right around that topic we love to talk about, which is control of language being a root cause issue. These people are masters at manipulating language, and they get away with it because nobody knows what logic is anymore, right? Very few people do. Very few people. And the people that do know aren't confronting this the way they should or the way that's effective, right?
Don't like about this guy, right? It is the sliminess, okay? He knows damn well it's not about Joe Biden slipping up on a word or forgetting the name. That's not the point that
that's true too.
The Fox host Lawrence Jones is bringing up here. No, the point is that Joe Biden was not aware enough to be a part of the debt ceiling negotiations. Nancy Pelosi had to take over for him because he had no clue what the hell is going on.
By the way, I didn't watch this video all the way through before I just watched a little bit of it. And so, like, as Greg's responding to it down here, responding to him, I'm responding, and then Greg's responding. I don't know what he's about to respond with, but we're both seeing the same thing. If it just, I mean, we're aligned on how we're viewing this person and what they're doing, right? Without me even knowing what he's about to say, I'm saying it before he says it. So we're definitely we're seeing the same thing here.
But Pete Buttigieg is trying to pretend like, oh no, you guys are just concerned about some minor slip up. Okay, you're trying to make a mountain out of a molehill.
That's a straw man, right? He throws that out there in front because he knows what they're really getting at is the truth, and they're not allowed to get to the truth.
It's like, bruh, that's not what people are talking about. This is what people like this do. I can't stand people like this. I cannot stand people like this because they try to pass off being a con artist for intelligence. This is not intelligence. This is just a con man, right? This is what this is right here. Okay. He's a professional con man.
Or you can look at what he's actually accomplished as president. It turns out he's really good at being president of the United States.
I mean, what did he accomplish? Since he's not meeting with his cabinet secretaries, he's not really leading these negotiations. He's having people take over for him because he has no clue what the hell is going on. Did he actually accomplish any of these things? Or did his handlers accomplish these things? Right?
Yeah, his handlers did.
Right? These are the questions that people have.
So let's talk about the record of the Biden-Harris administration. When you look at inflation, it's up 19.4%. When you look at the southern border, it's 8.1 encounters. When you look at crime, violent crime across 66 major cities, it's up almost 10% at 9.6%. Is that a record that you can run on?
Well, certainly the Biden-Harris record of bringing crime down compared to why crime went up under Donald Trump. And I often wonder, whether viewers of this network are aware that violent crime went up under Donald Trump. I think that
well, no, because
hold on, before you say it, I'm going to say it. It was your people committing the violent crime, right? Your people, and then your policies from before, the illegal invading migrant crime, right? The Biden migrant crime, the Obama migrant crime. It was all the open border stuff. So between your Antifas and your alphabet mafias and all the other radical violent things that your side is doing, right? And then of course the open borders, there's where you get it. Yeah, and of course the summer of love, of course. They all like so peaceful and loving that they took over and destroyed cities. Yeah, BLM protests, right? All that stuff. That's what you're talking about. That's your side doing it. They never admit that, right? They always just glaze over it and say, well, that's his fault. Again, communist tactics through and through is so ingrained in their culture now and their establishment culture. They don't even realize what they're doing anymore. They're just doing it. That's the normalization process right there. That's where it's been normalized to the point where it's just the way things are done now. And we can't accept that. We can't let it fly.
Because ultimately, at the end of the day, that didn't happen. In fact, violent crime under Trump went down his first 3 years in office, and it spiked in 2020 because of the pandemic. And most of the crime that was happening was where? In these super liberal cities, okay? That's the real story. So, yeah, the reason why Fox News viewers don't know that is because what you're saying is not true, right? It's not factually correct, okay? Even the crime spike in 2020 was still lower than the crime was before Trump took office. Yeah. So again, I will reiterate the reason why Fox News viewers don't know that is because what you're saying is not true. And unlike MSNBC, Fox News at least attempts to have some integrity, right? They attempt to do journalism. Okay. That's not attempted very much on MSNBC and some of these other outlets that Pete Buttigieg likes to frequent.
Deserves more coverage so we can ask ourselves why. And some of that has to do with policy. But some of that has to do with the message we send. When you have Donald Trump, an unrepentant, convicted criminal.
Again, not that's just mudslinging, flat out mudslinging. And the reason why he has those fake convictions against him is because of a corrupt justice system and a corrupt establishment that made it all happen. Otherwise, those charges wouldn't be there because they're not really that serious, or they're probably not even real. You know, I mean, it's just like they made things up to make things look bad so that they could go out there and say this, so that people like this slimeball here could go out here and say this over and over again. And you see that they keep saying convicted felon. That's what they wanted to say the entire time, right? But what they realize, hopefully what they realize is that's not going to work, right? We all see through it. But it's, again, for their base, not for us.
Running against a prosecutor like Kamala Harris.
What's funny about that is that Trump was not convicted during the time in which he was president. So what does that have to do with crime spiking? The question really should be
exactly. I mean, again, it's just more muddy in the water.
Okay, well, what policy under Trump led to more crime? Please explain, Pete Buttigieg. First and foremost, what you're saying is wrong. Okay, but let's assume you're correct, which you're not. Which policy under Trump led to more crime? Right? How did Trump, being a convicted felon, lead to more crime when he was not a convicted felon at that point in which he was president? Again, this is what I'm talking about.
Like, one way to stop this is like, okay, it would take some responsibility from news outlets. Right, like Fox News. I mean, somebody be the first one to do it. But after you have this interview on, like them, he's going to go in there and he's going to do his tactical speech, right? And then what you do is you take this interview, and immediately following the interview, you do media analysis on the interview. So you break down everything he said after he said it, right? You point out every mistake, every straw man, every fallacy. You just break it down. You're like, okay, so the next time he comes on, if he comes on again, right, you can sit, he's going to have to take a different approach, or he's going to get the same treatment again. All right, well, the second time, here you go, he's back on again. He did the same thing again. You know, he came out here with the same fallacies again. You know, we're keeping track. So now we're just slowly tipping away his credibility, right? Well, not that he has any, but you know, to the point where his the tactical language is, you know, isn't going to work, because if you use it, it's going to get called out immediately after you're done.
This is BS. This is con artistry right here from Pete Buttigieg. I can't stand these type of people. I really can't.
We have an opportunity to send a message about whether we're serious on law and order in this country, or whether it's a talking point, or whether it's just something people try to use as a
so you want to vote Trump.
Political theme for partisan gain. You want to talk about inflation? Inflation went up.
Literally just told you what they're doing. The DNC is doing. He literally just told you. I mean, just he has no soul, so he has no care, so he has no guilt, no problems. Pete spent a large part of his time in government on parental leave. That's right. When he and his husband adopted a child. Yeah. Yep. He sure did. He sure did. Like, if you wanted a kid, why did you decide to be gay? Like, why didn't you just marry a woman and have children? Why is it you think that you want to play pretend father, you know?
In every country after COVID, but we brought inflation down in this country. Of course, the most important question, every election is about the future, right? And in the future, economists predict that the Trump plan will increase costs for American families by $3,900. So why would we go back? Somebody's going to make it worse.
I don't want you to think that the crime issue or inflation issue is something new, because I've been covering it for years. I go out there and talk with voters every single day.
So you did cover the increase in crime under Trump.
Yesterday,
See, look at that. See, that is so slimy to do that. And he's so self-righteous. Look at him sitting there. So self-righteous. We're going to move on from this in a minute.
I had the opportunity to talk with a mother. She's not a Republican. She's someone that would vote for a Democrat most of the time. Many of the people that are complaining are actually Democrats. This is what she said yesterday when I asked her about her son. Watch.
how can I vote for somebody who I don't feel like has my back? Or any parent who lost their child's back. You want me to vote for you? What are you going to do for me? You say what you're going to do, but when you get in office, do you really do what you said you're going to do? I don't think so. Because this crime has been going on for decades, and it's getting sickening to watch parents on TV crying about the loss of their child.
So with respect to you, Mr. Secretary, the people that are being killed in places all over the country, they look like me, they don't look like you. And they're upset with the Democratic Party not taking it seriously. You guys sent the cavalry
Not taking
in.
it seriously.
Hold on, let me finish.
God, he's such a scumbag. Go ahead, call her the name you want to call her.
You guys sent the you guys sent the cavalry in for you guys for your protection, but the people of Chicago don't see that on a day-to-day basis. What are you guys going to do to stop the bloodshed in our community?
Well, first of all, I was mayor of a city that faced that kind of pain. The toughest part of the job was dealing with gun violence, and the most heartbreaking part of the
Oh, there he goes. He just pivoted to the gun agenda.
Job was comforting or trying to comfort mothers who just wanted their child back. And the big question, I think, for politics,
which you never did,
for policy, for media, is who is going to help them versus who is going to use them. The question.
Yeah, and that's why they're voting for Trump. They're tired of being used by scumbags like you. I'm done with this guy. Done with them. Let's move on. I got other things to talk about tonight. We're going to talk about Trump's plane. We're going to get to the July 13th updates. We got new footage of the shooter walking around the crowd, and we also know we're the third. There were three people who fired shots that day. Of course, some people were trying to grift off the event and say it was on the, he hadn't accomplished, or some guy in a window, one of the snipers in the window, somebody on the water tower, a bunch of bullshit that we know that we don't jump the shark here. We just ride the wave. And so we're going to find out where that third shot came from. We knew there was another official, another part of the security team that fired a shot. We just weren't sure what the shot did or when it came, and all that information is now out. So we're going to be covering that too. And as I said in the title, I'm going to give you an inside look at Trump's plane and how it works. And dude, I found this video and it's amazing. Like, you're going to really dig this part of it. It's going to be kind of like a pick me up from this early part of the show. And it's going to give you a little bit of peace of mind, because we had a couple of different events with Trump's planes this week, and I want you guys to understand how it works. So that's going to be information for you, and information that you can carry into conversations with others. Well, whatever happened to actually punishing criminals? Exactly. There we go. There you go. And again, a long time ago, I feel like it's 10 years ago, I was like, why do we still allow Soros and people like him to influence our country? Like, I was hoping that Trump would have come in a little bit more prepared in 2016, and would have been on the offensive against the root cause issues. You cut off the funding for Soros. You cut that funding off coming from out of his foundations, out of his bank account. You defund a lot of subversive organizations at one time, and individuals. Like, if you could stop his funds, I don't care what you got to do, man. Stop him. You stop his cash flow from going out or coming in. You defund a lot of things at one time. Like, you just take all these control oligarchs and you get their funding out. You say, you guys, we could invest in businesses, but you can't invest in people and politics any longer. Not in the United States, And boom, you watch how many of these places close like overnight. They'll run out of money so fast. Most people are there just for the money anyways. Hey, Daisy Girl Williams, how you doing? Welcome to the show. All right, let's get back to the playlist here. All right, that was a couple of this last minute additions I threw in there, but I wanted to get us back on track. And by the way, that we won't watch all of this, but I did want to throw this out there because this is a good point. Let's see. Look, watch this one. Hold on. RFK Jr. What's up with that guy? He's ready to get on out and get on going, I think. I think he's ready to come leave. Now he approached the Harris campaign and he approached the Trump campaign, seeing where he might throw his support. I obviously wanted to get involved with one way or another, but checked out this crowd right here.
Oppressed people, and in this case, it's Palestinians.
Yes.
It could be any oppressed people. It could be Jews in Germany. It could be landless workers in Brazil. Yes. It could be brothers and sisters in Haiti.
Oh yeah, and by the way, don't forget Haiti, man. I mean, anybody from Haiti that votes Democrat, I'm going to borrow a term, but needs to have their head examined, because the Democrats not only stole all the money that was there to help your country to the Clinton Foundation, after on a global scale raising money to help your country recover from a natural disaster, right? Not only did they steal that money through the Clinton Foundation, they've condoned the stealing of that money by nominating Hillary Clinton and by never doing anything about it or making up for this travesty. Never forget Haiti. Never forget Haiti. And Haitians, man, any Haitian voting for a Democrat, again, needs to have their head examined.
But we live in an American empire that has such unbelievable spiritual decay and moral deterioration. They think they can reproduce themselves with a level of hypocrisy and mendacity and criminality and get away with it. And we're simply here to say, chickens come home to roost. You're going to reap what you sow.
You're going to reap
Sooner
it.
or later, your lies and your crimes will be revealed and disclosed. Because truth crushed the earth will rise again, and truth is bigger than all of us, but it has something to do with the suffering of those who find themselves in place and predicaments that the great Franz Fanon called the wretched of the earth, and we are in solidarity with them.
Yes. Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. We got some bad news for Kamala Harris when it comes to third parties, because it seems as if the third party candidates are actively working against Kamala Harris. Okay, the third party candidates don't like Kamala Harris, and it's at the point now where the election could come down to these third party candidates and whether or not they choose to stay in the race. Okay,
I honestly, it's never really happened before, so I don't know if that's true, but it could. Let's listen to some more.
Because Kamala is facing some issues with that, particularly from the left. You have Jill Stein and Cornel West, who are technically in the presidential race, and they're really competing against Kamala because they're taking votes away from her.
Yeah, we like it when they do that.
Left, mainly when it comes to Kamala not doing enough when it comes to the Israel and Palestine issue. Okay, so you have Cornel West, as you guys saw at the beginning of this video, staging abandoned Kamala protests against her, okay, because of her positions. And ultimately, that could hurt Kamala in the election, because some of these states, like, for example,
Hi, Andy. How you doing?
Michigan or Wisconsin, it's going to come down to the margins, right? And if she is losing votes to these third-party candidates on the left, or the uncommitted vote, then that could be the difference between winning and losing. It basically was the difference between Trump and Hillary in 2016. Jill Stein being in a race, taking away votes from Hillary in states like Michigan. That could happen again in 2024. Okay. So that is something that Kamala should be extremely concerned about. She also should be concerned about the bombshell news that has come out that RFK is considering dropping out of the race and endorsing Trump. Now, this comes as there has been speculations and rumors that RFK is thinking about doing this. He's basically shopping around his endorsement. Now, he reportedly reached out to Kamala Harris to see, okay, is there anything that we can do to work together? And Kamala Harris basically told him, boy, bye, right? We don't care about your endorsement. We don't need your help. We don't want anything to do with you. He also spoke with Trump as well, too. And the Trump campaign was much more open to having the conversation with RFK about potentially coming on board in exchange for him dropping out and endorsing Trump. Maybe RFK will have more influence. This was something that the Kamala campaign did not consider at all. In fact, there was even a video that came out of RFK and Trump having a conversation after the failed assassination attempt on President Trump, in which, you know, it seems as if Trump and RFK have a pretty decent relationship.
Radically, I've seen it too many times. And then you hear that it doesn't have an impact, right? But you and I talked about that a long time ago. And anyway, I would love you to do something. And I think it would be so good for you and so big for you. And we're going to win. We're going to win. We're way ahead of the guy.
Yeah, so you're saying that you heard that. Okay, so that clip has sparked a whole lot of speculation about what RFK is going to do. It sounds to me like Trump and RFK are very friendly, that Trump is open to having somebody like RFK come on board and to do some work with the administration.
Yeah, put him right where he wants to be, man. Motivated, send him after the vaccine manufacturers, send them after all that stuff. Do you know? Let me just put this to the side for a second. Did you know? And I wish Shelley wasn't sick tonight, because she could add to this. But the did you know that there's a community, right, that has lowered the autism rate in their community? They've lowered it. I can't remember the name of the place. She had it all pulled up. I can't remember where it was. But what they did is they pushed back against the schedule, right? The early vax schedule. And that's honestly people who don't understand, people that are skeptical or are against, are not participating, I should say, are not participating in vax for their kids, right? The number one concern isn't as the leftists, as the people who want to make you do this to yourself, make you go along with the program, would say the science. Nobody doubts the science. They doubt the engineering, right? They doubt the production quality of the end product, right? And they also question the schedule. So what this community did is they said, we're not going to participate in the schedule. And what do you know? The autism rate dropped. Huh. You know, I mean, just saying. It's kind of like went as predicted. I asked when my son was born and it was time for those things to come up. I asked my doctor, his doctor, why so many so fast? And he couldn't give me a reason. So I said, well, we're not going to do it then. Because it sounds like a business decision to me. If you can't give me a medical reason why so many so fast, he goes, I honestly don't know. And that's coming from someone who administrates them, who is part of the administration of these things, right? And just follows the schedule. Hopefully, I made him think about it. But I was like, yeah, we're not gonna participate. And guess what? No disorders. How about that? Crazy, isn't it?
And I think at this point,
let Kennedy do what he
RFK
wants to
is
do.
More concerned about
Give him the
influence. I
job.
also think that low key he wants revenge on the Democrat Party.
Let him take on the WHO. Let him take on the big pharma. Let him take on all these companies that are doing a shitty job and that are not giving a crap about those who are affected adversely by their products.
For essentially rigging the primaries against them. And this is something that has essentially been confirmed by RFK's vice presidential running mate, Nicole Shanahan, who spoke in a podcast where she admitted that, yeah, we're thinking about dropping out and endorsing Trump because we really don't like Kamala. We really don't want to allow her to win, because at this point, it seems as if RFK is taking away more votes from Trump than she is from Kamala Harris, which was not true when Joe Biden was in the race. But now it has basically become true now that Kamala is in the race. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that. But first, I want to go ahead and play this clip of Nicole Shanahan explaining why they're thinking about dropping out of the race and endorsing Trump. Take a look.
But as long as we remain on the ballots, we could win. The question is, you know, is the risk of a Harris-Walz presidency worth us staying in? And that's the question we have to ask ourselves right now is, do we trust Trump and in his personal sincerity to really do the right thing for our country and chronic disease, balance the budget?
Thanks for being here, Andy.
And these
Good
forever
seeing
wars. Is he
Stop by
somebody
and say
that's going
hi.
to continue to invite
Good luck with
people like
Patty.
Bobby and I into the conversation? Or is he going to fall victim again to the things he fell victim to in his first administration? So these we're weighting it all. It's not an easy calculation. We want what's best for this country first and foremost, and it is, you know, it's an interesting place to be. I won't lie. Like you can't make this stuff up.
As somebody who understands that we're connected to something bigger, that spirituality and politics are intertwined, what does your gut tell you about how this is going to play out?
You know, this election is so important, but so is the 2026 governor race in California. And my gut tells me that sometimes you need to go to the source of where all of this stuff is coming from. It's coming from right here in California. It's coming from the influence Silicon Valley and Hollywood has had on the Democratic Party.
She's a little bit of it.
It comes from this idea that you can manipulate people with lies to get their votes. It comes from this lack of accountability that just seems to continue to spiral. And I think that what my gut tells me right now is that we just have to keep being honest. I got to just keep being honest. I got to keep focusing on what matters the most outside of party lines. I need to.
Yep. Yeah, well, from definitely, but before that, before the big autism boom of 2000, right? Every year the schedules increased with more and more and more and more, right? But even back in the 70s, from the 70s to 2000, right? 70s, 80s, 90s, right? You had the big ADD, ADHD thing. That was it, right? And then you're pushing the Ritalin, you're pushing the Adderalls, you're pushing all the other things that go along with it, evolving over time. Big industry right there. And the interesting thing about the 70s is that that's when they started combining them and they started ramping up the schedule. And so I think if you on the older schedule, the resulting was this big acceleration in this new thing called ADD, or and then they add even more and even more and even more engineering and even more different varieties to the schedule. And now you've had this accelerated version of ADD into autism, right? So it's like this autism, maybe it's like ADD on steroids or something, right? Where it's just frying circuitry left and right as it's being applied. So I mean, believe me, I've often thought that's what it is, and I'm not surprised that I won't be surprised to find out that's what it's been all the entire time. People are like, but then the science, it's science, and you're gonna kill people, and it's just bullshit. It's all bullshit. And yeah, the schedule itself is ridiculous. It makes no sense. But people, we've been told to trust doctors and trust people in medicine because they put the time and effort into the education. I find it hard to believe that people that are in that position of trust would violate it, right? Because if we were in that position of trust, we'd take it seriously. But there's a lot of broken, corrupt people in this world. And that's why corruption at its core has to be one of the things we solve for best possible. What corrupts people? What sends them down that road? And how can we stop that? How can we bring integrity and care and those important qualities and empathy back to the world? Hey, Lefty, how you doing? How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? So yeah, it's a shame because a lot of trusting people hurt, inadvertently have hurt the children because of it. And that should infuriate anybody. So no, let RFK, I'm gonna take this guy's face down. Let RFK have the job he wants. Let him go after that monster. We need somebody that will go after it relentlessly. Put him. I don't know what position that would be. What position should RFK Jr. get in the administration, guys? Let me know. All right, let's get rid of that. Let's move to the next one. Oh yeah, by the way, this is real short. Georgia, the state of Georgia has added a new rule for the election 2024. Here we are in August with a couple months to go, and we've got a rule change. So we have to keep an eye on these things no matter where they are, right? Because this is what they did last time. They changed a bunch of rules around, and it didn't turn out good. But you guys, this just came out. So let's take a look at this together and decide if this is a good rule, this is going to work out, or this is going to be a problem. Let's figure it out.
Board of Elections approved a controversial policy last-minute rule change that short.
Okay, so now this woman here in Atlanta, right? This is an Atlanta news station, by the way, is calling it controversial. So let's see what this means. It may mean it's a good thing. I don't know. I don't know.
Time ago, the rule allows local election officials to investigate counts before certifying their county's results. Tonight,
that sounds good up front, doesn't it? Okay, so Memento says they should create a new cabinet position for RFK, some kind of oversight for EPA and CDC or something like that. Hey, sounds good to me. Let him follow his passion, man. Let him follow his passion. And I mean, as far as the rest of that report goes, basically, what would we benefit good from having an RFK alliance with RFK Jr. alliance? I don't think it's gonna hurt. I don't know how many of his people will come over with him. I mean, I think a lot of people were behind him because he was not, from their point of view, an establishment pick, right? So, it wasn't one or the other. Oh, damn, I'm so sick of Democrats, Republicans. That's the false left-right paradigm mindset, right? Instead of the establishment versus the anti-establishment mindset, right? It's like, okay, it's just about these two political parties. It's not about two political parties. It's the battle's being fought through two political parties. But that's not what it's about. Anybody who stops that short has much to learn about politics. The factions may be fighting through these parties, but it's not about the two parties at all. It's about this powerful, corrupt establishment that's been ruling over us our entire lives, who has an agenda they're set on accomplishing, and they have all the money and the resources. They have control of language. They have the mechanisms for division. They have a cycle of abuse that enables a cycle of control, which they enable in a generational warfare approach, right? They have an ideology of Marxism, and they have a goal of globalism, right? Of a technocratic global order to things. So they want no superpowers above their own, no independent sovereign countries above their own global dominance, their own global governance. Right. But that's the fact. It's not Republicans and Democrats fighting over the United States of America. It's just you're on one side or the other. Either your energy goes towards helping the establishment, or it goes to fighting the establishment. It's one or the other. Like at the end of the day, I don't care whether you call it a party or call it whatever. Where does your energy go? Right? Where does your consent lie? That's what it's about. So, anyways, I'll rewind this a little bit because I got off track. But
allows local election officials to investigate counts before certifying their county's results.
Investigate counts before certifying. So shouldn't they be able to do that anyways? I don't know why we have to pass a law. Let's see. It doesn't mean a third party. It doesn't have to mean a third party. It just could be reforming the heck out of one existing party. Well, that's what we're kind of doing. When we got the rhinos and the neocons out of the control of the GOP, that was the first step. That's when we crushed the illusion of choice, because now you actually do have a choice. Before that, you just had the illusion of a choice, right?
Tonight, top state officials on both sides of the aisle have called foul. Fox 5's Rob.
Both sides. Neither side likes it. That might be a good thing.
Enzo is live at the state capitol. A lot of eyes were on this vote. Rob, tell us what happened.
Hey there, Christine. Good afternoon. Well, a lot of eyes on this vote, especially on the first day of absentee voting here in Georgia. Now, Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger says he's concerned that these last-minute changes could sow chaos into the system, and a lot of Democrats agree.
Yeah, I don't trust that guy.
This is dangerous to all Georgians, no matter who you want elected.
Voting rights activists sounded the alarm under the Gold Dome Monday morning as
Okay, so you can pretty much figure what side these guys are on, right?
Georgia's election board met virtually to approve the plan that would require 3 separate poll workers to hand count ballots.
What we are already
Oh no, that's too much work. Too much.
Already witnessing currently is 3 board members on the Georgia State Election Board behind these rule changes, showing partisan favor by putting their own goals before all Georgians.
How's this? What?
Earlier this year,
let's take a look at these 3 people that are putting their own goals ahead of everybody else.
Trump Republicans who have cast doubt on the 2020 election results got appointed to the board. The former president called the trio his, quote, pit bulls fighting for honesty.
These are all very important things.
Oh, there's one of the pit bulls right there.
That we want our boards to review and expect them to review before they certify an election.
Important and is an
there's another one.
Important step to find some form of uniformity and acknowledgement that we do hear some of the other concerns.
On Monday morning, Republican Attorney General Chris Carr issued a formal opinion that the board couldn't direct him to reopen an investigation into unfounded claims of voter fraud in 2020 because the state law does.
They're not unfounded. They're not unfounded. That's what it looks like here in Georgia when we go to vote. not unfounded, very much founded.
Doesn't allow for that. Republican Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger slammed the last-minute rule changes, warning they could undermine confidence in the election system.
Undermine confidence? Like, you don't think that extra checks and balances are going to maybe boost confidence?
We're already conducting the election for all intents and purposes. It is too late to be making changes like this. If these were good ideas, they should have been proposed 6 months ago.
Okay, so why weren't they?
And just a little while ago, I saw the Secretary of State's Chief Operating Officer, Gabe Sterling, in passing. He declined to do an interview with us, but he did want to assure people that they're doing everything.
They should have to hand count ballots underneath a camera that's being live streamed so that we can sit there and watch them. That's what they should be doing. Nothing should be behind closed doors. Everything should be out in the open and streamed live. They can make money on it.
Anything they can to make sure that Georgia's elections come November are safe and secure. That's the latest from here, live at the state capitol. Rob DiRienzo, Fox 5
I think
News.
a lot of people are interested in getting a result the same night as well. We'll see if that impacts that with this new rule change.
Yeah, well, maybe if you don't have fake water main breaks, then maybe we'll get the account in one night. I mean, last time you guys stopped in the middle of, stopped, had a fake water main break, and then all of a sudden the votes were flipped around, and that's unfounded. So, yeah, no, everything was just perfectly fine. That happens every day. That's just that, Mm-hmm. All right. We're gonna jump ahead on this one. We'll save that for this stage campaign event gets booed. Yeah, we'll save that one. Let's move on. Let's move on to Trump plane. You guys are gonna love this.
Did you know the jet has 24-karat gold seatbelts with a price tag of $1?
This is a great little documentary on Trump Force One. And it's going to tell you a lot of things you probably didn't know about it. A lot of really cool things. And it's also going to help, I think, build some reassurance in that Trump's transportation is being well kept and looked after. Although the plane's been around a while and does require maintenance and things to be fixed from time to time. Let me know after watching this how you feel about it. And, because there were some reports, he had to land and get something fixed. They made it sound a lot more hectic than it was. And JD Vance had a seal problem on the door. They needed to land and fix that. Just little things. But when you hear how they approach this stuff, I think you guys are going to really dig this. Check this out.
Did you know the jet has 24-karat gold seatbelts with a Did you know the jet has 24-karat gold seatbelts with a price tag of $100 million? It has 2 Rolls-Royce engines that can reach speeds of up to 500 miles per hour or 800 kilometers per hour, and it can stay in the air for 16 hours. This Boeing 757, previously owned by Microsoft's Paul Allen, was bought and refurbished by the Trump brand to fly only 43 people in total. Did you know that everyone started calling this Boeing 757 Trump Force One since the 2016 election? It's true. This $100 million aircraft is the epitome of luxury flying. Some sheiks would envy the inside of Trump Force One. The ceilings are made from ultra suede, the seats high-grade leather, and the headrests have the Trump family crest embroidered on them. In total, there are 18 executive class seats, 2 bedrooms, and 2 sofas in the media room. The interior of the plane is covered in either leather, suede, gold, or rare mahogany wood, like all of the cabinets. There's even a private dining room where Trump has meals, depending on the length of the flight. The screening room is as big as a large home theater with a 57-inch flat-screen TV and an entertainment system complete with small separate monitors on each seat for an individualized experience. The plane has 2 bedrooms, one of which is the guest room. The main bedroom is where you'll find the full-size bed with silk sheets, a shower, a small golden sink, and a golden faucet. The toilet bowl is transformed into an extra seat, extra wide and comfortable, just like every...
Real quick, all y'all over there on Rumble, man, hit the thumbs up button for me, man. I got 2 thumbs ups over there. I got it's been slow over on Rumble. I get it. It's summertime and all, so that's why I really need your support more than ever. We're up to 478 over there. I was hoping maybe we get to 480 tonight. Let's see 2 more followers get to 480. If you're over there on Rumble, let me know you're there. Hit that thumbs up. If you're watching here on YouTube and you do have a Rumble account, if you don't mind swinging by there, thank you, General. I appreciate that. Memento General Tao's bat. I do appreciate it. And if you don't mind just helping out, the links are pinned in the chat, on the YouTube side, and it's also in the description. If you guys can help out with the summer slump over there on Rumble, man, it really would be appreciated. Thank you guys so much.
Every other seat on the plane. If you were to melt all of the gold inside the Trump plane, there's enough to coat the outside of a Greyhound bus. All of the food for flights is prepared at Trump Tower. The usuals include shrimp cocktails, lobster salad, roast turkey, roast filet of beef, a green salad, and some freshly baked cookies. The food is stored in plastic, see-through containers. The reason for this is simple. Airport security will have an easy time inspecting the food. As soon as it's ready, the food is picked up from Trump Tower and delivered to the T-Bird, another name for Donald Trump's private jet. After the pilot confirms the destination airport has the necessary equipment to service this Boeing 757, they take off. For all of you interested in the price range, we should tell you that 1 hour of flight cost Donald Trump an astonishing $10,800. During the self-funded campaign for president, it's worth noting that Trump allocated $506,000 for private travel on board his plane. The plane's history started with Denmark's Sterling Airlines in 1991, the same year it was built. Then, 2 years later, Mexico's TESA acquired the plane in 1993. After that, in 1995, Paul Allen, the founder of Microsoft and Bill Gates' good friend, smashed that like button just like you should if you haven't done so already. But no, in all seriousness, he bought the plane from TESA and used it until 2011. At this point, DJT Operations 1 LLC, a company of Trump's, purchased the plane. The plane is 3 times the size of an average jet. It measures 154 feet or 47 meters long, has a wingspan of 128 feet or 39 meters, and a height of 46 feet or 14 meters at the tail. It's powered by 2 state-of-the-art Rolls-Royce RB211 turbofan engines, which are the quietest in the industry. This allows the former president to land the plane at any airport he pleases, even those with noise restrictions. It can reach an altitude of 41,000 feet in less than 20 minutes thanks to the powerful engines. One of the things Trump pays special attention to is the parts of the plane during servicing. He doesn't want switches and mix-ups. Replacements are strictly forbidden. The man behind the plane is John Duncan, who was the son of a military pilot. Since the age of 15, Duncan has been flying airplanes, first alongside his father and then as a licensed pilot. But then he wanted to fly private planes. He needs to plan every flight to perfection. And this is how the average flight procedure unfolds. According to the pilot, because former President Trump has a busy and unpredictable schedule, they often have to make short notice changes to the flight, and everything must be integrated seamlessly before takeoff. First, the pilot and co-pilot go out on the tarmac and make an official inspection of the outside of the plane. After that comes the flight checklist, which is where the pilot and the co-pilot make sure everything inside the cockpit is in perfect working order. They know exactly when Donald Trump will arrive, so they have to be ready in advance. Just like everyone else, Donald Trump has to go through security. After clearing, he boards the plane. Immediately upon entering, the first thing he does is greet the pilots and the crew. Then he goes into the cabin and inspects everything, and we mean everything. Here's what Donald Trump said about the inspection process. The first thing I do when I get on this aircraft is look around for details. I always study the details. Everything needs to be sparkling clean and shiny. Simply put, the billionaire wants everything to be as close to perfection as possible. Finally, Donald Trump decides when to take the plane to be serviced. The maintenance facility doing the servicing usually has to work 2 shifts to get the plane ready for the next trip. After all, they only have about 3 weeks to do the routine inspection and then make the necessary upgrades. Every 18 months, the pilot has to do a major routine inspection as per requirements of the FAA. For example, in 2013, Trump wanted to install a Wi-Fi system on board the aircraft. So while the crew was working on the inspection, inside the plane, there was another crew installing the wiring for the Wi-Fi system. Trump wanted the seam in the floor in the galley to be moved to the corners to render it invisible. That's how much attention Trump pays to minute details many would consider unnecessary. While the plane is being maintained and upgraded, pilot Duncan will head out to the facility to inspect and assess the situation. He says that he likes to be present anytime the aircraft goes through a major inspection. And here's what the inside of the luxury plane looks like during the servicing. All of the furniture is dismantled, moved around, and covered with plastic. The walls with the gorgeous suede are torn open, exposing the wiring underneath. In the meantime, while this plane is being serviced, Donald Trump refuses to charter a plane or fly on a commercial flight. He will smash that subscribe button and ring the notifications bell. But no, in all seriousness, he will take his smaller 1997 Cessna 750 Citation 10. The cabin of this plane is not as high as the Boeing 757, but it gets the job done. Inside, it measures only 5 feet and 7 inches or 170 centimeters, and when it was purchased, the Citation 10 was the fastest business jet in the world. After the presidency, this became his main transport aircraft, which he would fly to Manhattan. From the airport, Trump probably got inside one of the 3 helicopters owned by the Trump Organization, and he would fly to the helipad of Trump Tower where he would conduct business meetings. Still, the pilot and the maintenance team need to be on time and ready. The business tycoon and former president runs a tight schedule, and he doesn't want to be late. After the major upgrades are complete, ceiling is installed panel by panel, and the furniture is screwed into place, making sure all the seams fit perfectly together. They have to make sure nothing is changed and not a drop of sweat falls on the furniture since this will damage the leather. As soon as all the plastic covers are removed, the floor is scrubbed with a special detergent. The pilot calls himself a neat freak, so he helps with the scrubbing. A special brush and a can of air are used to clean all of the dirt from the seams. Every little speck of dust is wiped off, since former President Trump wants the plane in mint condition, as he calls it. For this, the pilot will take a big, soft brush and brush the grain of the suede ceilings, making sure all of it is going from left to right. The inside cleaning is accompanied by a paint job on the outside. To show you just how much attention to detail there is, take a look at this guy. He's painting one of the screws half white and half red. Why? Because the screw is on the seam where the colors meet, and they can't risk painting the whole screw white or red. After completing all of this, the plane is ready for takeoff. The pilot will align his flight schedule perfectly with that of Trump's schedule, and they will pick him up wherever he is. After only a short stay at the airport, the plane will soar to the sky and take Trump to Europe or Asia, where he has business deals to close, contracts to sign, and speeches to give. Bye for now.
All right, there you go. So, in case you're wondering about his planes and how they're maintained and who does it, there you have it. A little inside info for you. All right. Let's switch gears. It's time to move on to the July 13th Trump assassination attempt updates. All right, and let's get started here with the report on how what the third shot was. Here we go.
Of the Donald Trump shooting in Butler, Pennsylvania, has dropped a massive bombshell on us, and they are now telling us that the Trump shooter was shot twice. Once by a Secret Service sniper, and he was also shot once by a local Butler SWAT team member. So let's take a look. So on July 21st, about a week after the Trump rally and shooting, U.S. Representative Mike Kelly wrote up this resolution here. So in this resolution, there's an establishment, and he says right here, there is hereby established in the House of Representatives the task force on the attempted assassination of Donald J. Trump, hereafter in this resolution referred to as the task force.
The people of Butler and the people of the United States deserve answers. I'm proud to introduce this bill to establish a task force to get to the bottom of how this unthinkable tragedy could ever have occurred. This bipartisan task force will have investigative authority, including subpoena power, and to actually thoroughly analyze the circumstances surrounding the assassination attempt and ensure that these failures that occurred that day never happen again. When the American people lose faith and trust and confidence in their government, then the question is going to be, well, who's going to fix it? And the answer is, we are. Now, I will not rest until we get these answers for all our constituents and all our fellow Americans. I urge my colleagues to support this bill, and I yield back.
On August 12th, Mike Kelly sends this official letter here demanding some information. And he sent it to the head of the Department of Homeland Security and also to Acting Director Rowe of the Secret Service. And so what he was asking here, pursuant to the Resolution 1367, which we showed you earlier, this is what he's asking right here. So the task force requests for documents and information henceforth supersede all other requests from the committees and the members and the Department of Homeland Security and the Secret Service. They should produce these documents and information directly to the task force from this point forward. So they're wrestling control of the whole investigation. Everything we saw earlier was just basically the congressional hearings and stuff, but this has more teeth. So they want including any documents and information that are in the process in response to pending requests. So basically they're asking for everything these guys have. They want every piece of paper, every piece of intel. And then these are the Republican members of the task force here. There's 7 of them. There are 6 members from the Democratic side of the aisle. Remember, this is a bipartisan task force. I want you to pay special attention to this one right here, Representative Clay Higgins, because he is the one that wrote this detailed report that we're about to show you. And so yesterday on Clay Higgins' website, he released the report. It says Higgins releases preliminary investigative report. And you can see this picture right here shows him walking on the roof of the AGR building doing his investigation. So I'm going to go through the highlights of it here for you, and then I'm going to go into the details. Inside his report has some pretty incredible thick details of what was going on. So this is a true boots-on-the-ground report. Here's some of the notable observations from his report. The U.S. Secret Service did not retrieve the radios that had been set aside for them by Butler County Tactical Command. The radio comms were properly and perfectly arranged during the extensive pre-mission planning. And I'm reading this and I'm going, oh my gosh, do you realize the implications of what this means? Because it means the Secret Service has essentially left themselves unprotected there and with no way to get communications. And had they taken those radios with them and had them beside them, it didn't matter if they were in separate command posts now, because they would have heard on the radio, we have a guy that's getting up on the roof right now.
I go on the roof with white shorts. See that dude running?
Exactly what we're saying.
Had they used these radios.
Exactly what we're saying, right? Communication breakdown. They didn't show up for the meeting, right? They didn't show up for the meeting. Communication breakdown, right? And how is the breakdown? They didn't have the communication devices that were laid out for them. You know, I mean, day one we were calling this.
They would have heard the Butler and Beaver guys talking, going, hey, guess what? We got a guy up on the roof here.
Someone's on the roof.
So you heard me, he just said it. And now he's armed. You know, at that moment in time, they could have had all of the Secret Service detail rush out there and at least pounce on Trump and get him off. Because remember, Trump was already on the stage at the time that they discovered that he was going up onto the roof, because he went up on the roof at about 6:08 or so.
I go on the roof with white shorts. See that dude running?
And remember, the shots were fired at 6:11 and 33. So they wouldn't have had much time, but at least here they would have had at least a couple of minutes advance notice that there was some police activity going on and they were looking for this guy and then he was on the roof, because they didn't really know that at that time. Here they're just confirming all 8 casings fired from the crooks were recovered and allegedly in proper possession of the FBI. The 9th shot was fired by a SWAT operator from the ground 100 yards away from the AGR building, and it hit Crooks's rifle stock and fragged his neck and right shoulder from the stock breaking up. Wow. And it says here, the 10th and I believe final shot was fired from the Southern Counter Sniper team. And it says, my effort to examine Crooks's body on Monday, August 5th caused quite a stir and revealed a disturbing fact. The FBI released the body for cremation 10 days after July 13th. And then here, the water tower was cleared by drone on July 13th by the county tactical commander, ESU commander Lenz himself. Now, Lenz is the guy that was in the
Real quick, a lot of talk about the cremation, like the body being released. What are you planning on getting out of that autopsy? That's the question I have to ask. People are, they're trying to cover something up. All the grifters were out there they're covering up. You know, but what are you trying to cover up? It was a gunshot. We all know what happened.
command post relaying all of the information to the state trooper that was in the Secret Service command post. So that's how they were communicating on that day. Right, so let's take a look at the report. This is an interesting trivia point here. And he says, according to his investigation, the U.S. Secret Service had never prior to July 13th assigned a counter sniper team to a former president of the United States, including Trump. So that was kind of interesting. Now, this is pretty standard here in most counties, and even the county where I live right here. But Butler County runs the radio communications tower for the 911 call center. And it's pretty much the way radio communications work across America in every county, in every state. If the radios are interoperable, meaning a visiting law enforcement agency is assigned a frequency, a channel for their operation in that county. If the radios are not interoperable with the county, the communications tower, then the visiting agency is assigned or offered actual radios to use while they are running their operation in the county. And that's what I mentioned to you a minute ago, that bombshell news that the Secret Service never picked up those radios. And I can tell you, interoperability has always been a problem with law enforcement. So I live only a few miles from the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas shooting, and I actually knew two students who were shot in that. One of the big things that came out of that when I sat in on the investigation panel there for that shooting, the communication systems between all the local agencies have patches. They have these computerized screens where the operators can patch all the radios together so that when everybody keys up, everybody can hear them. Well, there was an error in the patching that day that prevented certain agencies from talking to each other. So Coral Springs couldn't talk to BSO for a while until they got it resolved. Total nightmare. And here's that bullet item that he had mentioned here, where the Secret Service did not retrieve the radios that had been set aside for them by Butler County Tactical Command. The radio comms were properly and perfectly arranged during the extensive pre-mission planning on July 12th. The Butler County ESU commander personally reminded the U.S. Secret Service counter-sniper teams to pick up their assigned radios at the ESU command post RV, which was positioned, according to planning, at the Butler Fairgrounds the following morning before 1100 hours. That didn't happen. Now, this right here is what I want to get my hands on right here. The radio traffic transmitted through a county radio tower 911 center is recorded. Chairman Kelly and I have a timeline and transcript of all local radio traffic as provided by ESU Commander Lenz. He's the guy, as I mentioned, that was the liaison between the local cops and the Secret Service police, relaying information by making a cell call. He would have to make a cell phone call to the state trooper that was inside the command post for the Secret Service. And then this here, I believe we already have this report. So it says, as provided by ESU Community Lens, Chairman Kelly and I also have other ESU and U.S. Secret Service July 13th briefing files, including the pre-mission briefing plan from the ESU and the United States Secret Service Counter Sniper pre-mission briefing graphs. I'm assuming it's the same report that we have, this one here, but we will find out later on, I'm sure. And his investigation, and I knew that this was complete, total nonsense about this. But anyway, it says here, there are videos circulating on the internet that appear to show a muzzle flash from inside the AGR building from the window below Crooks's firing position on the roof of the AGR building. I carefully examined this window inside and out and interviewed the AGR employee who has worked in that small area for many years. That window does not open and has never opened. The muzzle flash from inside that window is either a digital fabrication or an iPhone light or an iPhone camera flash reflected from the glass window. I knew the minute I saw, oh, is that a muzzle flash? You know, how would somebody have really found a muzzle flash anyway? But as we could see in Dave Stewart's film, right after the shooting, those undercover cops were already walking by those windows and checking those windows. There was no cracked windows. There was no bullet holes. There was no shattered windows there. So that whole thing I knew was completely bogus. Here's another reason why it's completely bogus. The AGR building like this sits below grade to the rally site. So you have to go up a grassy knoll to get to that rally site. Okay. So somebody is shooting down at this level and those windows are pretty low in that first ground level there, right? So if somebody is shooting towards Trump, they're not going to hit him. There's a crowd in the way. So none of those bullet angles would have mattered or anything. And not only that, you have to shoot through 2, maybe 3, but there's 2 chain link fences that I know of. Not going to happen. Nobody in a million years would be that stupid. And how would they have even gotten somebody in that building when it's locked anyways? I knew this whole thing about that muzzle flash was fabricated by instigators. This isn't even a conspiracy theory. This was a conspiracy fabrication. The report goes on to say Crooks did not have a ladder on July 13th. He accessed the roof by climbing onto an air conditioning unit. I reenacted his climb with no problem. Because as you can see, Clay Higgins is 62 years old, and he had no problem duplicating that climb. And as I mentioned to you before, even Dave Stewart, who took that now famous film that we've all been showing you a million times, he told me that as a kid, all the kids in his neighborhood have been on the roof of that building, and there was numerous ways up there, and it was pretty easy for them to climb up there. Now, in the report here, he also goes on to say 8 shots were fired by Crooks from his firing and dying position on the AGR rooftop. The position provides excellent concealment for Crooks from the northern sniper team due to the foliage in branches of 2 trees. Crooks' firing position did not offer excellent concealment from the southern sniper team. However, it should be noted the would-be assassin perfectly positioned himself to minimize the threat of counterfire from the ground or the USS counter-sniper teams. Crooks's firing position was also several feet back from the actual peak of the AGR rooftop. By choosing this position, Crooks effectively minimized the skylined profile of his head and upper body. And here it says all 8 casings were recovered and are allegedly in the proper possession of the FBI. Thomas Matthew Crooks's rifle is also allegedly in the proper possession of the FBI. I will need to examine all of the physical evidence that has been harvested by law enforcement and is in the possession of the FBI. Now, here's the incredible detail that we were looking for right here.
I hear that.
This is the bombshell. The 9th shot fired on July 13th was from a Butler SWAT operator from the ground about 100 yards away from the AGR building. So here's where he's saying shot 9 hit Crooks's rifle and fragged his face, neck, right shoulder area from the stock breaking up. The SWAT operator who took this shot was a total badass. When he had sighted the shooter, Crooks, as a mostly obscured by foliage moving target on the AGR rooftop, he immediately left his assigned post and ran towards the threat, running to a clear shot position directly into the line of fire while Crooks was firing 8 rounds. You remember he had those first 3 shots, and then the burst of 5 shots, and then you'll hear the SWAT operators. So on his own, this ESU SWAT operator took a very hard shot, 1 shot. He stopped Crooks, and importantly, I believe the shot damaged the buffer tube on Crooks's AR. I won't be certain of this until I can examine Crooks's rifle, but I'm 99% sure based on reliable eyewitnesses, ESU tactical officers who observed Crooks's rifle before the FBI harvested it as evidence. This means that if his AR buffer tube was damaged, Crooks's rifle wouldn't fire after his 8th shot. So that is
that's wild, man. That's wild. To hit that shot, two amazing shots back at him. Right? Movies and TV shows don't help the situation. That new moon landing movie has brought out the moon landing deniers again. Oh, no way. Is there a new moon landing movie? What is it? I'm gonna have to blow that thing up. Yeah, I think some people just love conspiracy theories so much they have to either make things up or just believe anything they hear. Yeah, definitely. Again, these are people that haven't realized the value of critical thinking and research, right? And believe me, I deal with these people all the time and in different ways. I mean, I've dealt with them a lot more in the past, but just the other day, somebody I'll show you guys after this. Some conspiracy grifty was trying to just disprove me with some kind of weird photo. Like, I'll show it to you guys here in a little bit.
Pretty amazing bombshell. Another one here in the same report, giving us much more deep details into what really happened, because up until now we had heard the report from Washington Post about a week and a half ago that it was a SWAT guy in the area that just shot at him, but we didn't know he hit him. We thought that he had just distracted him enough, because obviously the bullet had to have come close enough to him. So obviously the bullet went close enough to the shooter that he would have heard it breaking the sound barrier, that when it goes by. So that at least startled him. We thought that the shooter was just startled or interrupted and then sat up like, what the heck's going on? And then boom, that's when the Secret Service bullet got him. So it looks like 2 different law enforcement officers hit the shooter. And this is important information.
I mean, guys, for those who shoot and those who have shot and have been trained, beyond what normal people get trained, how impressive is it to hit the stock of a rifle, like from a distance? I mean, I don't know if that's what he was shooting at, but it certainly was effective
in the investigation. So he comes on to say Crooks went down from his firing position when shot number 9 was fired. That's the SWAT guy's shot. And the SWAT officer was certain of his hit. According to the ESU SWAT operator, Crooks recovered just after a few seconds and popped back up. So then he says the 10th and I believe final shot was fired by the Southern Counter Sniper Team. I will not be 100% certain of this until further investigation. However, I am quite sure that the U.S. Secret Service Southern Counter Sniper Team fired the killing shot, which according to my investigation, entered somewhere around the left mouth area and exited the right ear area. Instant over. This entry exit aligns with the United States Secret Service Southern Counter Sniper Team position. The FBI released all first responders that evening, much to everyone's surprise. I interviewed several EMS cops, etc. And here's another one this is what had people kind of talking. I've been getting comments about this for weeks now. And this is the FBI released the crime scene after just 3 days, much to everyone's surprise. All right, so my question to you is, do you think that's enough time? Is 3 days enough time for them to gather all the stuff that they needed? A lot of people are saying, oh, the FBI was covering it up. They were way too fast. They cleaned everything up that day. No, they didn't. It was 3 days. The crane operators couldn't get their rented cranes back to go and take them to rent them to other gigs afterwards. They had to wait like almost a week to get those back. So is that enough time for the FBI to perform their investigation? Now, Congress, I think, is a little upset because they're like, well, you knew the hearing was coming. You knew you were going to be interviewed. Why didn't you preserve the crime scene? So that's why he was saying, I interviewed several first responders who expressed everything from surprise to dismay to suspicion regarding the fact that the FBI released the crime scene so early after July 13th. It should be noted that the FBI was fully aware of the fact that Congress would be investigating July 13th. The FBI does not exist in a vacuum. They had to know that releasing the July 13th crime scene would injure the immediate observations of any following investigation. And then the other one here that was kind of surprising, the FBI cleaned up the biological evidence from the crime scene, which is unheard of. Cops don't do that ever. I don't know. Maybe they do. And is he absolutely certain that it was the FBI that was up there hosing that down and not maybe somebody from AGR? That's something we need to really get to the bottom of. And then here it says on July 13th, one of Crooks' shots hit a pressurized hydraulic line on a staged piece of heavy equipment. My effort to examine the hydraulic line evidence revealed that the tractor belonged to a rental company, and it is unknown if the hydraulic line was harvested properly as evidenced by the FBI, but it certainly should have been. It remains a question for further investigation. I need to examine that hydraulic line because confirmation of the caliber of the rifle projectile that hit that line would be helpful to our investigation. That's how the examination of evidence works. We have to look at everything. He is absolutely correct in that. You have to check evidence. Everything has to match and reconcile with everything else. Just like you saw my investigative videos into all of those police body cams, and all of those timestamps have to line up. My efforts to examine Crooks' body on Monday, August 5th caused quite a stir and revealed a disturbing fact. The FBI released the body for cremation 10 days after, as we mentioned before. But here he's saying nobody knew this until Monday, August 5th, including the county coroner, the law enforcement, the sheriff. And he says, yes, Butler County coroner technically had legal authority over the body, but I spoke with the coroner and he would never have released Crooks' body to the family for cremation or burial without specific permission from the FBI. In the report, he goes on to say, the coroner's report and autopsy are both late. As of Monday, August 5th, they were a week late. The problem with me not being able to examine the actual body is that I won't know 100% if the coroner's report and the autopsy report are accurate. This is going to stir up all sorts of conspiracy theories, and probably rightly so. I'm just like flabbergasted by this. We will actually never know. Yes, we'll get the reports and pictures, but we'll never be able to say with a certainty that these reports and pictures are accurate according to my own examination of the body. Again, similar releasing of the crime scene and scrubbing crime scene biological evidence, this action by the FBI can only be described by any reasonable man as obstruction to any following investigative report. Please note, Mr. Chairman, that on July 23rd, the day that Crooks was cremated, both the Homeland Security Committee and the Oversight Committee had begun House Committee jurisdictional investigation into July 13th, and Speaker Johnson had already stated that he was forming an official congressional investigative body. Why then, by what measure, would the FBI release his body to the family for cremation? This pattern of investigative scorched earth by the FBI is quite troubling. Now, here in the report, he's saying, my assessment of the local law enforcement's overall performance is that ESU was very professionally deployed and commanded. Yes, it was quite chaotic, and every single police officer reflects upon dangerous and extreme engagements, and we universally critique our own performance because crazy things happen on the street. However, my professional assessment for the purpose of this preliminary investigative report is that Butler County ESU performed quite well under the circumstances. So remember, both the chairman and both Clay Higgins are Republicans and ardent Trump supporters. You kind of get the feeling that they're sort of leaning towards conspiracy theory thinking. And that's okay to have that. And if you could prove it, fine. But I just wanted you to know that you can tell by the tone of this letter, it's leaning that direction without really 100% proof of it yet. Also in this report just now, why didn't he mention about the officers that were supposed to be stationed in the two-story building and either one or more of them left the post? So that way, the second he heard someone's on the roof, they could have then stuck their head out the windows and looked down the roof line. And then right here, he says the owner and top management of the business stayed with him and the two county investigators for 3 hours as he covered every inch inside and outside on the rooftops of the building, the AC units. He was very helpful and 100% squared away. I recreated every step of the county tactical team that was inside and every movement of Crooks outside. Examined every window. It was long and hot, and the AGR's exec stayed with us. No area was restricted in any way. Now, you know, he took a lot of pictures when he was there. I want to see what he's got. And I want to see more details on these movements. And I also want to know, like I mentioned on my video a few days ago, are there any security cameras inside that AGR building that may have tracked the officers' movement in there and also confirmed that nobody else, no bad actors, got inside through outside, even though we know those doors they lock themselves when you leave because they needed that card key access to get in there. Now, this right here should put the final death knell in the nail in the coffin here into the water tower conspiracy theory, because even though I've already debunked it a couple of weeks ago, but it says here, the water tower was cleared by drone in the AM by the tactical commander, ESU commander Lenz himself. But look at this. Here's the killer right here. Here's the nail in the coffin to that theory. The water tower ladder was never lowered that day. 2 local cops, non-ESU officers, were assigned to be parked in the water tower area as response units for traffic issues or whatever. They did leave that post, but only in the hour prior to the shooting. So that means that they were back at their post during the shooting. And you could see, remember, the one cop drove up behind the other cop who was already parked there behind the tower and said, hey, what's up? And then they said, hey, you see that dude running on the roof? And then he mentions about there are videos on the internet showing a dark figure or shadow on the water of J13. If there had been somebody on the tower, it would have been some top shelf operator way of beyond anything I've ever actually seen. It says regular SWAT operators or snipers would not have the skills and gear to quickly overcome that first 25 feet of no ladder and then climbing the 75 feet to the catwalk and then climbing the quite intimidating and precarious dome vent access ladder. That's that curved ladder that goes around the back side of that water heater. And yeah, I mean, I can't imagine anybody having an easy time with that thing. It is true that the vent area at the top of the water tower is the only point that would have allowed a clear line of sight to both Trump's and Crook's firing position. I cited out this fact very carefully during the hours on the Butler Farm AGR water tower crime scene area. However, I do not believe it was possible for a second shooter sniper to be on top of that water tower on July 13th, nor have I seen any evidence that supports the theory of a second shooter. I'm not saying conclusively that there was no other shooter somewhere or that there were no other conspirators involved, but I'm saying that based on my investigation so far, there were 10 shots fired on July 13th, and all shots are accounted for, and all shots align with their source. Crooks' 8 shots, 3 plus 5, the ESU SWAT 1 shot, and the United States Secret Service Southern Sniper Team 1 shot. Over. And he's mentioning here in the report, He will be allowed to climb the tower at some point next month. It's quite a
Have
climb.
fun.
The Butler County Water Works directors were very concerned about accommodating my climb, although they did agree to a later date. And he says, I'll have to return when I can coordinate with their safety team because we just ran out of daylight. Okay, so that's when he was there at Monday, August 5th, doing his investigation. So this was some pretty juicy stuff here, folks. I feel a lot better now and a lot more relieved knowing some of this information. And I was very surprised to see that that SWAT officer actually shot and hit the shooter. I mean, think about it. You have basically less than 10 seconds from the first shot to move out of the way to where you can see him and then look up there and, oh, there he is, and then take your shot and aim and poof. And he said he was shooting partially through the leaves and stuff like that to get to him. Wow.
Wow. Yeah.
Could you have made a shot like that 100 yards away? Tell me if that's an easy shot or not. Those of you who are expert riflemen out there, let me know. Let us all know in the comments. What do you think about this report? Do you think it's accurate enough? Do you want more? What is your opinion of this? So anyway, thank you so much for joining us. And don't forget to watch these other 2 videos here.
Yep. You're coming right back. You're coming right back. So what do you guys think of that? Pretty wild, huh? Like I said, you know, you just got to take your time with these things, and all the speculation gets washed away. The people that run out there and spike people's emotions and start speculation and get people off track. You know, I don't know if they know what they're doing or not when they do that. I think a lot of them are being very selfish when they're doing it. So I you know, I don't know, but I hope that the day comes when we have like a round table discussion. It's just grifting. I mean, is that acceptable? Is this the world we want to live in where grifting is cool? I'm gonna get out there and I'm gonna abuse your trust of me just to make a freaking dime or dollar or some minuscule amount just you know, that's what people think that you're worth to them. You know, the fact that you guys come here and hang out with me, even on a night like tonight when there's not a lot of people out, most people are watching the train wreck known as the DNC Chicago, and I don't know why they're interested in it. I guess they want to be there if something happens. Like I say, they saw it first. I have no idea because it's nothing but a lie and subversion fest. You know, you guys come here, each and every one of you, you know, it's important to me that I never grift or mislead you in any way. You know, and send you down the wrong line of thinking, you know, and put you in a position where you're going to look foolish talking to someone else about something because you heard it from me, right? I take that stuff seriously, and I don't know, I don't understand the mentality of people who just see everybody as usable, is usable and just a means to an end, right? I don't get it. You know, so trying to get views and such, that's not acceptable. Now, I think some people were doing it without thinking about it. It's just social media culture, right? There's a lot of repair we got to do. That's why I say I hope there's a round table or some kind of open forum we can actually discuss this topic, because, you know, sorry if that made noise. This topic, because it doesn't get talked about enough. And you know, and who's going to sit there and talk about it? Jeremy and Tim Pool and Benny Johnson and Redacted and Alex Jones. These guys are all guilty as hell of doing it. You know, and I like all of these guys I name, but I just, you know, a lot of times they're hitting on good points and they're hitting on good topics. But when it comes to shit like this, they just jump the shark every time. It makes everybody look bad. It sets up a world where that's like I said, you know, people are trying to get clips of views. It's not acceptable, but people are okay with it because it's so pervasive. And I just really hope that one day we have a chance to sit down and have a discussion about this. Until we stop all the censorship, it's not going to get fixed. Can't even have a discussion about it. Yeah, I don't think censorship is the answer. I think education is the answer, and in cultural changes about information, how we handle information, and the meanings. You know, how we look at information and words and language is so key, and people just take it for granted because they've been talking their whole lives, right? Hold on a second. Okay, sorry, I need to check on my reception. Evidently is really low on this end. I'm kind of waiting for it to come back up to start the next video. All right. So next we're going to look at the body cam of the Butler SWAT shot here. I have not seen this one yet.
Secret Service sniper shot.
All right. Let me make sure we're sped up. All right, cool. This ought to be good. But anyways, yeah, I mean, I'm probably never going to stop harping on that until we get some kind of like, damn it, it's going down. The perception's going down again. All right. All right, it's coming back up here. You know, I'm gonna keep harping on it because it's and one day maybe somebody else will be able to put that round table on, or there will be people sitting around going, you know, we can't keep doing it like this. And you guys will remember Winning Reality was talking about it years back. I'm usually a little bit ahead of the curve on things like this, which is frustrating as hell, by the way. You know, and it'd probably be talked about by people who probably shouldn't even be at the round table. I don't know. Maybe I'll be there and that'll be cool. Maybe that's what maybe that's what Winning Reality is going to end up doing in the long run. All right, let's watch this.
He's about to come up right now. Right there. And up goes his fist. Yeah, you got it. Fist pump. So it looks like we finally discovered now who that SWAT officer was that may have taken the first shot that disabled the Trump shooter before the Secret Service fired their kill shot. So now today on the Gray Hughes Investigates YouTube channel, he was pointing out earlier this afternoon, video that I showed you from the Secret Service was off by 12 seconds. So apparently their time, the timestamp that was on there is off by 12 seconds, which is why I never put two and two together to see that that Butler SWAT officer that we see in this video is the one that took that shot that disabled the shooter before the Secret Service sniper came in and shot. So let's go take a look at this. So really it's 6/11/18 here. It's really
there you go. That's wanting to know the truth, man. That's like humble. You know, he goes back and goes, oh yeah, by the way, I figured out that, you know, I didn't have something right. So here it is.
6/11/06, about 15 seconds after the officer first discovered he was armed. So now it's making sense. So now it gets out on the local Butler and Beaver radio, and you're going to see the officer start to pick up his pace here. Now he's going to start running over towards the fence to see what's going on over at the AGR building, which is dead ahead from him. So now here we are. Listen further. He's got a gun coming up right here. Now here comes the 3 shots. Here comes the 5 and then the sniper. Here's your SWAT sniper. And then here's that 10-second delay until the Secret Service sniper comes in for the kill shot. And you're going to hear it right now. And there's that SWAT officer that took the shot dead ahead. And he just reacted to the Secret Service sniper taking his kill shot. I think he watched it through his rifle sight. And so now let's just follow him and see what he was doing. And it looks like he's heading back over to the corner of the fence there where that police car is. That's the one that I've showed you that video a million times already, where they had to use that police car to ram the fence. And so right now, I don't know if this officer is pointing at the SWAT guy saying, yeah, he's the one that took the shot, but certainly this officer must know that that SWAT officer right there took the shot. If you're standing that close behind somebody who just fired their rifle, you certainly know it was him that fired it. There's nobody else standing in that area. Now he tried to follow the SWAT officer. He's moving off to the left out of frame. Certainly this officer whose body cam this belongs to and that SWAT officer had to have known something was going on. And now we don't know if those 2 police cars parked in the corner there outside the fence, if they were parked over there ahead of time knowing because they heard on the radio, or if they were just stationed there. Now, I am wondering why it's taking too long for some of these other officers to come running out of the tent. But anyway, we talked about that before. Let's take a look at the slow-mo, and I can zoom in and show you how the SWAT officer took the shot. One thing real quick, though, just before I show you that, look how you've got all of those cops that are now working their way over to that corner of the fence, and they're ramming the fence right there. See that? So they're ramming it open. There goes the guy with the ladder, the famous telescopic ladder. So I believe our SWAT officer that took that shot that initially disabled the shooter is probably in that crowd right there of cops in the corner, that first bunch of cops that are about to run over to the AGR building. And I wouldn't be surprised if he was one of the first ones up on there. I think the first one up there might have been a black uniformed cop, not the green, you know, olive colored, like the SWAT guys are at. So that would be like a Secret Service officer. So you can see them all running over there. And I'm pretty sure that our SWAT officer who took that 9th shot is in this group. So that's why I think that from this clip here from Dave Stewart's video, his now famous video, I think one of these SWAT officers is our man, not these troopers. But you could see there was coming in behind them on the chain link fence, possibly this guy here behind the Secret Service agent, possibly one of the other. There's like 3 guys there, 4, that potentially one of those 4 could be our SWAT shooter. They just have so much gear on, they get past that gate. I slowed it down 5x for you, right? So now I want to show you, before the 3 shots ring out, look at this girl that's standing by the fence there. See her right at the behind the black rigging there, the outrigger from the truck. There she is right there. Now see how she reacts after the first shot? Second shot there. And third shot here. Then the cop is going to run around the back side of the truck again. And then we're going to hear the burst of the 5 shots. Here's the sniper right there, taking a shot. Boom. That SWAT officer right there just shot at the shooter. And I'll show you him again in a minute when I slow it down even further and zoom in further on him for our analysis of this Trump shooting. But now, as we come back around, and there's that mysterious guy in the gray suit, I think that everybody keeps asking about, who is that guy? Who knows?
Who is that guy?
But anyway, we come back, and you're going to see that girl has now been running from over there at the fence to over here. And there you can see the SWAT officer. And again, we're going to zoom in on him real good in a minute, but I just wanted to show you at this speed and at this view angle here, what we're seeing. And here comes that final Secret Service sniper kill shot right here. And there's his reaction to it. So let's take a look at it again, real close up. Okay, so what we want to do now is go to the spot where the 3 shots took place. That's right here. So when we get there, I want to focus here on the girl by the fence and see if we can't duplicate what Gray Hughes Investigate showed on his channel today. So we're going to go right here. I'm going to zoom all the way in on her. And so you see how she's standing there right now. And unfortunately, I don't know if that's the Trump shooter right there sticking his head up right over the top there, because that's about where he would be. He's supposed to be just to the left of this window with the vertical pipe. All right, but let me zoom in a little more so we can see what's going on. See, I think that is probably him. We'll see. If that goes away, we'll know it was him. So here comes the first shot right here. So there's the first shot, and you can see her reacting. It's an automatic nervous reaction for any human being when you hear a loud shot like that, to just, jerk or whatever. But here, I believe we're looking at the Trump shooter right there up top, his head sticking up. Okay, and then here comes the second shot. The cop has already reacted himself. And then the third shot, you don't see anything. And then here's the 5 shots, because what I want to show you here during this is what that SWAT officer is actually doing there. So we're going to zoom in pretty good here, move him over. And I don't know why these 2 Secret Service agent guys are running, or if they are Secret Service, why would you run in there into a tent where there's no protection, unless there is some that we don't know about, like some bulletproof panel or something, or maybe they're staffers. But either way, let me try to zoom in even further here and find where that officer is, because here's the 5 shots right here. Get that water bottle out of the way. Here's our officer right here, the SWAT officer. And he's about to take his shot right there. So if you hear that, there's where the shot is. And unfortunately, the outrigger of the truck is sort of partially blocking him, but you can see him right there. And he is facing the AGR building, and it looks to me like he is taking a shot there. You can't 100% say that it was. There's the girl running, and there's the SWAT officer again. Let me go find the point where the Secret Service kill shot comes up, which is coming up here. Okay, so that's where that shot is. So I want to make sure I'm zoomed in real good there when that shot goes off. Okay, so he's on the ground and looking, and probably sees him right here. And from what we heard in the report, he barely saw him through the trees and stuff there. Okay, the snipers are much worse off because they're up higher trying to look down through 2 of these trees, not just 1 tree, 2 trees. That's the north snipe. Okay, so right here, look at this is where the shot takes place right here. So he's definitely aiming his rifle with his rifle up and watching it. And the Secret Service shot takes place right now. And remember, the Secret Service guy is up on a barn, probably at least 100 feet up behind him. And let's see his reaction to it. See, his fist goes up in the air. You got him. So let me show you this again at this magnification. Okay, and now the Secret Service sniper shot is about to come up right now. Right there. And up goes his fist. Yeah, you got it. Fist pump. Now, you know how predictable some of these conspiracy theory people are. I don't mean all of them. I'm talking about the ones that are making up and fabricating stuff. They're going to say, look, he's doing this. That's a signal for Trump to do his famous fist pump. You watch. That's going to happen. Because look, they're already spreading rumors around now about the flashing muzzle, the muzzle flash in the window of the building, which we've already debunked that, but they're still at it. Okay, so to give us a layout of what was going on, remember the Trump shooter was positioned right over here on the top of the AGR building. And that officer with the body cam was in this building and had come walking out across the parking lot and was walking down this drive here. And remember, the white tents were parked right on top of this drive. So he had moved on to the grass over here where so remember, there was the boom crane on either side holding up that big American flag. And so the SWAT officer he probably wasn't all the way up against the fence. I believe he was back a little bit. It looked like he was probably in this area right in here. So we're not that far off from where he was. And remember, the girl, I believe, was up against the fence, or at least optically it looked like it. She might not have been. So he took his shot from here all the way over here to get the Trump shooter. And the people that are still sending out that conspiracy theory that these guys here purposely didn't shoot or waited and all that, I don't think they took a shot at all, because they didn't have a shot, because they had to go through this tree and this tree. There's two trees here that were blocking their line of sight to the Trump shooter. But these over here, the South team, the Hercules 1 team, is the one that took the kill shot. They didn't have it, or if they did, it was probably barely getting it, and they were still able to see the Trump shooter once he was disabled by this first SWAT officer over here. So the officer was here, fired a shot, and it supposedly hit the stock of the gun, and a little bit of shrapnel hit him and certainly put him out of commission for a few seconds until he was able to sit up. And it was at that point in time that the South snipers over here saw him and said, "Poof, let's get him." And so from my PowerPoint slides that I've been working on, this sort of shows the line of sight that everybody had. So you can see why the North team could not see through the tree to get at him. The South team could, and then the Butler SWAT officer also could see him once he stuck his head up just enough, and so he was able to shoot the gun itself. Now, we don't know the extent of the damage done to him yet by the Butler SWAT, by his bullet, because we don't have the autopsy yet. The autopsy was released, and it was basically a one-page that didn't say anything other than manner of death was shot in the head. Okay, we want to see other things like marks and cuts and stuff on the body. So that hopefully will be coming out in the future. And this sort of shows it from another angle, from the crowd's point of view. So the SWAT officer was standing back over here and shot at the shooter from here. And here is where the Secret Service snipers were. And the South team took that kill shot. The North team didn't have a shot at all to speak of. You remember when the officer was walking, and it's right here around 1808-20, right there. You could see he spotted the Trump shooter right there on the roof for the first time. And now his arm is up and he's radioing. So I showed you this on one of our videos probably over a week ago. And then I showed you, of course, from that stabilized version from a dude that actually showed him walking on this portion of the roof. And here, of course, you can see him standing up. And now he's sort of hidden because of that tree there. He's blending in with that tree on behind the building. So, but what other people haven't showed you, and I thought I would show you, is he does reappear again. And I'll show you where. And I'm going to stop it, and we're going to go single frame through it. Yeah. So let me back it up right here just a few seconds, because it's before the cop cars arrive. So right here, we're at 8:08:42. So it's basically 22 seconds after the officer first spotted him up over here, and he's going this way. So now what I'm going to do is right when I get to 47 or so, I'm going to stop it right there, because I want you to watch right here. He's right here at this point in time where you see the arrow pointing on the cursor. You're going to see him emerge to the left of the second story building here. So watch closely. We're going to go frame by frame here, and you'll start to see him appearing there, and you'll see the two separate. You'll see him separate from the building. He's sort of sticking out a little bit now.
Yeah.
And now there he is. So you can see him. He's fully upright and walking straight up here now. And he's heading towards this right here where the 4 pine trees are, and that little covered hallway that the officers hoisted themselves off of is right here. And the reason why they ran in there is because this cop here that's walking saw them there. So I don't know why other people haven't shown this. I haven't seen it anyway on other videos, but there he is standing perfectly upright there. And he's walking over. He's getting closer and closer. And by now, the cop cars here are starting to come in off of the left. They were behind the water tower, and they had seen him on the roof also. walking there. And by now he's probably crouching down because he knows they're coming, and he's got a motor, man, because he knows the pressure is on right now. And look at what time it is now. It's 18:08, 51 seconds. It's now 30 seconds after this body cam officer first spotted him. And so the cops are going around and around there. I'm just going to speed it up because you really can't see him beyond this point now. And they go over there, and they're going to park, and this officer is going to just keep on walking closer and closer. So there's the water tower. He's already cleared the water tower. And when he gets up, you're going to see that he's pointing. And again, we're still trying to figure out why those officers went around to the left side of the building. And then here comes a third police car now into the picture. And then as this officer gets closer, we are now exactly 2 minutes away from the shooting at this point in time. And so he's getting closer and closer. He's still looking. He doesn't see him because at this point in time now, he's crawling, because this is the point where people had already were telling the cops on the other side of the AGR building, he's on the roof, he's on the roof. And meanwhile, the two other cops are over here searching around on the grass. And he's going to come over here and point and say, you know, I thought I saw him over in this area here when he was running. He's going to be heading right straight for this clearing. So this is the clearing that everybody said the cops didn't know about. It was hidden. They didn't know it was there. They didn't see the shooter's ladder hidden back there. All of that stuff was just lies that were being spread, because you could see here it's very clearly and obviously they could see he's pointing in there. That's where I saw him. That's where we can get up. Now they're coming back around, and they're going to run in there, and they're going to hoist each other up.
Yep.
So it was pretty interesting that we were able to see even more of the shooter's path across the roof there. And so probably about 10 seconds from now is when the officer that spots him on the roof is going to come flying back down. So what we want to really hear then is the transcripts or the actual radio broadcast of what happened and when. When did the very first transmission go out that they saw he was spotted? Because right now, see the cops come running out from there. That's probably when this guy with the body cam knew that the guy was armed. So we have about 30 seconds now before the shooting takes place. So he's already got his gun out now that he knows there's a shooter up there with a gun. And the rest is history. We'll keep those questions coming, folks, because you know I'm going to always dig and dig hard for you. So make sure if you haven't checked out these other videos here,
Jeff,
you can
doing
start
amazing
here and
work,
binge watch them and catch up on the whole series here on the Trump assassination. Because I tell you, you do not want to miss out on any of those. We have the best information out there. So thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you on the next one.
All right, we got one more. Yeah, great. You know, I was just thinking I should try to reach out to him, see if I can get him on the show. Just been covering his stuff, and I would like to just have a talk with him about a lot of this stuff. That's, you know, how important the kind of work that he's doing is, and why this is what we need to kind of make the norm, right? Slow walking in. We got time to figure things out. Let's not jump the shark. Let's not jump to conclusions. Let's not abuse people's trust, right? So we got one more to go, and this is the one that you saw in the thumbnail of him walking through. Now, what I want to bring up about this is that there's still some people out there that are trying to do good work, but they keep using, well, and it's in a lot of cases, in some cases, no, they keep using his photo from like 8th grade, like, you know, junior high school or something, right? And I'm wondering, like, why at this point are people still using that kitty underage? I call it an underage photo of him, right? Why are they still using that when you know that that's not an accurate representation of what he looks like today? He's obviously already an adult at this point, legally an adult, and he looks very different. And this video right here is going to show you exactly how different he looked from that picture everybody's been using.
New video was uploaded last night showing the Trump shooter at the rally.
I mean, that doesn't look like the same guy. This is him right here, right? Doesn't look like the same guy at all. I mean, he looks older, right? It's the same guy. It's just the kid grew up, and here's the grown-up kid, right? The 20-year-old version of that kid.
Actually, before the rally started, this is the
right. I mean, you see how much different that is. He's got looks like he has some facial hair going on, a little bit of facial hair there on the chin. You know, and he's grown his hair out. He's got his face looks more looks older. You know, he didn't have that kid look in his eye anymore. I don't understand why some people out there insist on still using his underage photo. I just don't get it. It's like, it's not accurate.
Clearest video we've ever had of him. And we're also going to look into this deep state conspiracy theory as to why the Secret Service snipers took so long and they didn't even fire their shot here. Okay, so here I'll just play you the 3-second clip first, and then we'll look at it in slow motion and talk about it. So here's that 3.5 seconds. He's just walking by right there. There he is in the gray shirt and the white shorts. Now I've slowed it down 5x for you. And I'll put a link to this video down in the video description for you below too, so you can see the original as posted. So here's this guy in the blue shirt, and behind him is our shooter right there. There he is in the gray shirt, in the shorts, and the black socks. Now on his TikTok channel, Ironclad also uploaded this 17-second clip. And he had just basically taken video from all around there, and he was a vendor there selling hats and stuff. And he was just filming people walking by, and he discovered to his horror later on that there he is. Okay,
hold on.
So now I've slowed it down 10x and zoomed into it, and
I just want to take a look. You can see, like, you know, he doesn't know backpack. There's no backpack there. So he's already stashed the backpack somewhere or doesn't have it yet. And not a lot of, no bulkiness going on here.
so you can see what's going on there.
in the
And he's just
pocket.
walking very casually. Doesn't have
I mean, maybe that's the rangefinder in his pocket right there. Is something right there. Could be his phone.
his backpack with him. So it might still be in his car. We don't know. But check out that fashion look, man. Isn't that the epitome of sexy right there? Now, probably what's bothering me the most about this is this guy's walking around with these pale, skinny white legs and black socks going halfway up his calves and white cargo shorts. Could you possibly make yourself look any uglier? So Officer Greg Nickel, who was the one who originally spotted him from that second-story building window and took that photograph that is now so famous.
Like that right there. I mean, that's not the same picture as the one that everybody's using.
This of him and circled it around to his fellow officers. He's the one that should have just shot him right to the head right then and there as soon as he saw him, just because he was wearing black socks with white cargo shorts. And he should have done it to put him out of his misery, and mine and yours. Because all of the best fashion and style experts out there tell you not to wear cargo shorts.
Believe me, when I say that you need to keep cargo shorts on the trails, there is no reason why you should ever be wearing them outside of hiking or roading for Metallica. If you have a pair of working eyes, you shouldn't need me to tell you why they're a huge fashion ick. They're all function, no form, and are too long with way too many pockets. What are you keeping in there anyways? And they're basically the apex of the ugly pants pyramid.
Yeah, I can see where this guy might have a hard time landing a date on Tinder. So I mocked up this little Tinder profile here for him. Ladies, would you date this guy? And of course, last night over on Twitter, the stupidity started almost immediately, because as soon as other people started to post the video here, you're starting to see these bogus comments that are started by guys like this. And it always starts so innocent like this.
Here's the guy in the
with his
front.
head on a swivel, and maybe it's the angle and wind, but is his shirt covering a holster on his left hip again? Once again, it may just be the
That's
wind.
why I slowed
So
it down
these
and
guys are
looked
just
at it.
trying to instigate, and they're trying to get people
To
into
dispel
panic
the
mode again,
rumors.
especially since we've long just proven their muzzle flash nonsense and the water tower shooter nonsense and the ladder nonsense. They have nothing else now. So every new piece of evidence that comes out, they look for every little pixel that they can claim is out of place. See, and you see how this guy...
Right. It makes you wonder about people like that, doesn't it? Like, are they intentionally just trying to discredit? I mean, we don't know who these people are behind these profiles. We don't know what their agenda is. And there's plenty of people out there that are pretending to be part of the crowd, and they're actually against the crowd. They're infiltrating. So I wouldn't be surprised if that, you know, knowing what the establishment understands about psychiatry and psychology and how the human brain works and all that, that they wouldn't try to and how their narrative is formed. They wouldn't try to have people that are just intentionally trying to make us look bad on our side. Anybody outside of the establishment narrative to look bad, so they can point back at it and be like, look, they're just a bunch of weirdos who don't know how to research anything. They always have these conspiracy theories that never work out. You know, it just you know, completely muddies the water for anybody doing good research and trying to. And yeah, here's another thing too, like this other photo that I can kind of see right here of that fake guy, the guy that came out right after it that looks kind of like him, that said, got the wrong guy and I hate Trump and blah blah blah. That clown. I hope that clown got a nice visit from Secret Service for doing that. But people are still using his photo as the shooter photo. Yeah, you can't carry a long PP on your holster on it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I know. I can't believe they're giving everybody a hard time about cargo shorts. But look who you're trying to impress, TikTok girl, right? I wore cargo shorts for a long time, and you know, I had a good reason. They were functional. I had things to keep in my pocket. There you go.
It keeps going into every one of these accounts now and posting
Mine were usually camo or black. So
this comment. So this is likely a bot. And then if you look over here, you'll see like somebody else had posted the video, Mario Knopf.
Hold on. What do you say? Likely a bot. Let's go back to that. Probably spam. Well, that I've never seen that before. Have you guys seen this? I've never seen this heading before.
So this is likely a bot. And then if you look over here, you'll see like somebody else.
Hold on. Wait, sorry about that. Let me go back one more.
Can claim is out of place. See, and you see how this guy keeps going into every one of these accounts now and posting this comment. So this is likely a bot. And
so yeah, Johnny St. Pierre, like where was that coming from? Like who's doing that? Who are these bots that are coming out here to make to muddy the waters? Like that's the kind of accounts you need to go after right there. We got to figure out like who funds these accounts, who starts these accounts, who are the people that are behind these accounts, and why. Hey Thomas, what's up, buddy? I haven't, but I don't spend a lot of time on Twitter and X. Yeah, you're not missing anything. It's a bunch of shit.
then if you look over here, you'll see like somebody else had posted the video, Mario Knopf. And what do we see in here in the comments here? Oh, look, there's that same guy again. Who is this other guy?
Look at that. That poor man. That poor man just walking in. He's just walking in Trump rally. Now he's going to be like, oh my God, wrong place, wrong time. Now everybody's going to be banging down my door and harassing me and saying I'm a crisis actor, you know, or some bullshit like that. A conspirator, you know, in on it. Like they care. Like they are actually out to defend Trump. They're not. They're going to harass these people like that. Sandy Hook parents got harassed, or some other guy, just wrong place, wrong time, bad circumstances. There's been all kinds of people that have gotten caught up in the camera lens and then been gone after by weirdos.
So they're trying to just drum up business, I guess, for their conspiracy nonsense. Because this isn't conspiracy. This is just complete nonsense. This looks like a...
Yeah, Lex, there you go. I wear cargo shorts all the time. If you're cool, you can break all the rules. That's right. No one's ever said shit to me about mine. I haven't worn any cargo shorts this summer. None of mine fit anymore, so I didn't get any more. But but I mean, what am I supposed to wear? Like jean shorts? Like what kind of shorts? About tennis shorts? Am I supposed to wear tennis, like 1980s shorts? What are the cool shorts out there? I don't know. I'm behind the times. I'm old now. I don't know what cool is. If you guys can tell me what cool shorts are, let me know.
A coordinated attempt, because all of these were posted like last night, pretty much between like 6 and 7 p.m. I think. And so now we're seeing around that same time, you're seeing all of these guys coming in and posting this nonsense here. And somebody else is saying, hey, see, who is this guy? He looks like a Fed. So it's kind of...
It looks like a Fed. He looks like he's got sunglasses on. He looks like a Fed. I mean, come on. Thomas says, I'm on a Win 7 machine, so I have to be careful how many tabs I activate at once, or I have to reboot my browser, or sometimes the whole computer. Dude, you should get yourself a upgrade there. Get yourself an upgrade. You build things. You should build your own machine. I built mine. Pretty fun. Macor builds machines. He knows how to build them. He knows what he's doing.
I mean, it's no coincidence that somebody thought to zero this guy out and turn it into something that it isn't. Oh yeah, and then you got he must have changed clothes guys. You got all these people that keep lying and saying, oh, they saw him wearing shorts on the ground, but he had pants when he was lying down on the roof dead. Or sometimes they said the opposite.
Nope.
He was wearing pants on the ground and then he's got shorts on the roof. So they're still playing that card, which is just beyond stupidity.
It's beyond stupidity, and it's freaking lazy. That's the person that thinks they know everything, so they don't look at anything, right? You know those people. Let's see. Grape smugglers aren't cool. They never were. That's all I know about shorts. Oh, Wolfram built his too. Yeah, cool, man. I built mine. I got a Rise 9 sliding here. Rocking and rolling. Well, I have the equipment and software for a Win 10 machine, but I have to upgrade on hours in a day.
because it's already been disproven. So then I was at church a couple of days ago, and a friend of mine comes up to me and he's talking about our videos, and he's like, Jeff, man, what about this whole deep state conspiracy? And he's so adamant about this video that he kept seeing. He goes, this video I saw, it kept showing the Secret Service snipers were sitting there for 42 seconds and didn't fire. Why did they sit there and not fire? Were they told not to? And, that's because a lot of people were spreading these false stories about it. And I just couldn't convince my friend for the life of me that all of these videos he was watching were just completely untruthful and fabricated. And unfortunately, people are watching these and believing them. He goes, but I saw the number. It said 42 seconds right there on the screen. I saw the guy sit there and he didn't take the shot. So one of them that was spreading this falsehood here was, you got this lady here, Laura Loomer, and she apparently has quite a few subscribers. And so it's kind of irresponsible, I think, to put false stuff out like this. And
exactly. I mean, there's one right there too. I mean, I hear things about Laura Loomer. I don't know who Laura Loomer is. I don't follow Laura Loomer. Seems like she wants to do the right thing, but there's, so many people knee jerk and put out shit like this, like this confirmation bias. I don't know if Laura Loomer is really trying to intentionally mislead people, but it is, like he's saying, irresponsible for her not to be more careful with her information when she has that much influence. Unfortunately, if you get into this game, right, this streaming game, this online persona game, whatever, right, and you want to be out there and you want to have a broadcast, and you want to speak to people, if you get to a certain level, as you get to levels, I think if you just do it, no matter who you're talking to, you have a responsibility to do it the best you possibly can, and be as honest and truthful as possible, and be as humble as possible at the same time. But when you get to mega reach level, like amazing reach level, like your responsibility goes to the roof to make sure every damn thing that comes out of your mouth is as close to the truth as you possibly can at the time. And if you mess anything up, to go back and correct it. You have a responsibility. And unfortunately, all these people that have this massive reach and what's called the new media side, right? We all know the establishment's a bunch of lying pricks, right? But on the new media side, the outside the establishment side, like it's just, we're excusing it all the time, and we're just giving them more and more attention and more clicks and more views and more thumbs up, and that this is enablement, and it's becoming enablement. It's gone from where you're supporting someone who's trying to do the right thing to enabling their bad behavior, and they don't even realize maybe that they should do it or they need to do it. I really think that maybe what good can come out of this whole thing is that conversations can evolve from people that are doing it the right way to reach out to people that want to do it the right way, but are doing it the wrong way. Right. the Laura Loomer, other people, if they can't sit down and have a conversation about the right way to do things, right, they don't deserve to have the reach and they don't deserve to have that responsibility. They can't handle that responsibility. And this has to come to a head. This has to be talked about. It can't be brushed under the rug, because it's a point of failure on our side that can be exploited, and it will be exploited. And I believe it's already being exploited.
You're basically trying to alter history and trick people into thinking something else happened. So she's got this picture here, 7 minutes and 21 seconds before the shots. So they're just, casually looking around. They're not really looking anywhere yet. But now here, 42 seconds of looking down the scope before the shot, right? So she's trying to pull a Jedi mind trick here, and she's trying to make you think that these guys right here were just sitting there, and they had him in the sights, and they didn't take the shot. And then she says, well, they need to be investigated and held accountable. Yeah, I agree with that. The refusal to give President Trump more resources almost got him killed. That's still in debate. And so here's a video that was circulating around where they're showing 7 minutes and 21 seconds before the shots. The guys are okay. They're really not too worried. And now they're intently focused on the rooftop of the AGR building. See, now the problem is...
Yeah, one before he even gets into his analysis, which is going to be spot on. They were, look at the crowd. Just from media analysts' perspective, right? The crowd's shouting USA, 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 right? This is 7 minutes before. It's not even in the same context, right?
Is at this point in time, these guys don't know that they have an armed guy up on the roof yet. Even the local police at the AGR building did not know that the armed shooter was on the roof until they spotted him 30 seconds before the shooting. So they're just scanning the area over at the AGR building, trying to see what the guys on the ground are doing. They haven't gotten that communication yet from them. And watch what happens as the shots ring out. And keep in mind, they still haven't gotten the communication yet that the guy's armed, nor do they see him through the tree.
Ooh,
So you see how they're trying to blame the North sniper team here on the left barn for not taking a shot. Well, they had no shot to take. And this is what I think makes it irresponsible reporting, because if they had just taken 5 seconds out of their day to do this, they would have seen that they were wrong. All they had to do was pull up the Google Maps view of it. Look, remember, the sniper team they're talking about was right here. The Trump shooter had come over here onto the roof, and he was right here. He was about 3 lanes over or so from that covered hallway.
He used
so
that
was
tree as
ahead of time.
cover.
He knew where to park here in order to not have a view from these snipers here. So from where he was at right here, if you draw this line, it goes through these 2 trees to the sniper team right here. So they can't see. They're blocked by these 2 trees, and it is 2 trees. So it's like doubly as thick. And then, of course, the South team are the ones that took the kill shot. They did see him once he was disabled by the Butler SWAT officer that was standing right here. And he fired and hit the Trump shooter right here, hit the gun, did not hit the shooter directly as far as we know, but it hit the gun and probably destroyed it, or at least stunned him enough that he kind of sat up a bit. And then the Secret Service team over here, Hercules 1 team, saw him and just shot him. Boom.
Bang.
They're like that because they cleared the tree. And then this is the Secret Service team that eventually took the shot. Now you can see this was taken probably, we know that sometime around 6:10 is when these guys turned around. They were facing south.
All right, guys, tell me what kind of rifle they're using right there. What is that? What are we looking at here?
Doing their job facing south. Then they turned around here to face north. And remember, they're looking here, but at this point in time, even these guys still don't see where he is. And they don't know that he's on the roof either at this point in time. Because again, because of that breakdown in communications where the Secret Service were in a different command post and didn't have the radio frequencies, and they should have. They didn't pick up their radios. And so because that happened, these guys were swimming in the dark. They didn't know where. They just knew something was going on over there, but they didn't know. And it wasn't until 30 seconds before the shooting breaks out that the local cops over there at the AGR building knew something was going on. But even then, these guys still didn't know until the shots rang out. Once the shots rang out, it took them 16 seconds to find out where it was coming from on the roof, acquire him, waited for him to pop his head up, and then boom, they got him. So you can.
I mean, dude, that's pretty impressive. I mean, in that small window that they had, and with this flying blind, basically. I mean, it went from like the whole setup was incompetence from the beginning in terms of not showing up for your meetings, not getting your communication devices that were laid out there for you and ready to go. Failures. But when the shit hit the fan, the snipers themselves, the guys that are just following orders, are put in a position, right? From Butler SWAT to the Secret Service, both sprang up with amazing shots, right? And within a very small window of time. Count, what's up? Okay? So you think that's an SSG 300? 762.762 caliber. Is that what that is? I'm not real good on that stuff, but oh, there we go. Okay. An SSG 3000 asterisk. It may be a custom rifle for the Secret Service uses. I mean, it looks like a very powerful long range rifle. It's got it had the silencers on the top, and it had the it looked like a heavy gun, like the obviously made for long distances for sure.
See, there's always going to be acquire him, waited for him to.
Yeah, it looked like some badass weapons right there.
Pop his head up, and then boom, they got him. So you can see there's always going to be people throwing roadblocks up in front of you here to stop your ability to get at the actual truth, the real truth. So that's why you're here on this channel, because here we don't have an agenda. My agenda is always about seeking the truth. If you've seen any of my other engineering.
Yep. I mean, dude, me and Jeff are on the same page, man. We got to hang out. Remember, I covered the Boston. I call it the Baltimore Bridge bullshit, right? Where everybody tried to claim it was a cyber attack. It was just like, or some other shit, some Ukrainian plot or something. All the bullshit that came out. And I was talking about it then. I was like, we got to stop jumping the shark on these things and just let things work themselves out. I mean, once it's done, it's done. Then you could sit back and really pick apart the evidence and figure out what's going on. But people seem like they have this first to market idea, right? That if they can run out in front and one of their wild guesses comes out and is true, then they can be the next, Alex Jones or somebody. I don't know who they think they're trying to be, but they're not helping the cause. And that's the big deal. That's what we're talking about right here. We want to be better than what we came from. We want to be better than what we're subjected to. We don't want to be the mind control machine that we escaped. I mean, I just don't understand why. I guess they just don't realize that they're doing it, but maybe some of them do.
Disaster fails like the Dolly ship or the Champlain Towers condo collapse.
That right there was an excellent video he did. I didn't even realize when I started picking up on his July 13th videos that I had seen this video that he put out. Remember how everybody was trying to figure out how this building collapsed? Dude, his work on it was exceptional work. He got into the structural faults and some of the building, so the way it was built and what it caused the flooding that was going on down beneath it that caused the collapse to come down like this. Remember, everybody thought this was some kind of terrorist attack, but really it was just a bad design, a bad build. And he pointed this out. He talked about how over time it caused the collapse to happen. So, I mean, this guy does excellent work.
Collapse or any of the other ones that we've covered. We're always about finding the truth, and we're all about debunking the nonsense stories that people are trying to put up because they have an agenda. We do not have an agenda. And so make sure you check out these other videos here that I've uploaded on the subject. If you're new here and you haven't seen any of the previous Trump videos or even any of the other engineering disasters and the DIY videos that we cover here on this channel, make sure you check these out. So thanks for joining us today, and we'll see you on the next one.
All right, Jeff. Thank you so much. I got to get Jeff on the show. I mean, he's reachable. Like, I'm literally good at his premieres, and I talk to him for briefly. I don't try to, take up his time or anything. I just say, great work, Jeff. Great. I asked a question about something one time, and he had an answer for me. So he's there at the premieres. So I'm gonna hit Jeff up and try to get him on the show. I think it's we have a lot to talk about, and I can show him what we're doing here, and maybe we can have collaboration or something. Maybe he's got some great opinions on how we could actually get to a better place in new media, what his opinions are of people that are out there. And in some cases they're right. Some cases they're doing good work. Some cases they're breaking news and they're giving based opinions, and they're bringing things to light like the WEF and the UN that need to be talked about. But then I guess to fill in the rest of their time, and that's probably why they have millions of subscribers and I don't, they put out a bunch of nonsense. I'm just not ruling. Let me tell you something about me. I've never been willing to sell out. There's something about me. I'm just not that kind of person. I can't do it. And if I'm doing it in some way, I don't know it. And when I figure out that I'm doing it in some way, I stop doing that. Like, it's just more like a learning experience for me, right? But I just can't sell out. I can't do it. It's like there's just something in me that doesn't allow it to happen. And I don't know what it is, because it seems to be so easy for so many other people, right? They can snap in and out of being, trying to be based in a good person and trying to be, truthful and honest to being, sus. Let's just put it that way. And this goes for people that have major reach and big channels, to people I know that have channels the size of mine that, I've been associated with at different times and different points. They seem to have no problem at all, no problem at all flipping on people that they say they care about, and flipping on people in their crowd by filling their head full of bullshit. Yeah, dude, definitely check out his stuff, man. He's really awesome. Let me throw you a link to his channel. Is it Jeff? Yeah, he's got some great stuff. Here we go. Coming at you, Madcore. Let's see. Oops. Jeff Alstruff. All right, there you go. Check out his vat. The links are out. There you go. Yeah, so like I said, they have no problem throwing people under the bus and just using them for their own personal gains. And it's like, whether I have 20, 30, 40 people in here or I have 5 to 10, it doesn't matter. I'm going to deliver to you guys the same quality across the board, and I'm not going to abuse you for being here. I'm going to appreciate the fact that you care enough to stop in and listen to me. I'm going to appreciate you for being part of the solution culture and giving what I have to say a chance. I'm going to appreciate your input and what you think. And, it's just, I don't know. I'm just not a sellout. I never have been a sellout. I've always been, call it anti-establishment, right? It's like, I've always been resistant to being trendy, resistant to following the bell cow. And though I've fallen into some things, in my life, usually I do it pretty blind and I learn along the way, but what keeps me based throughout is that exactly what I just said, that I just can't sell out. I just can't sell out. I don't care whether it's, whether it's the job, whether it's at a job, whether it's a group of, pretty mainstream people, a group of hippies, a group of whatever musicians, whatever level I'm at, whatever I'm doing, whether I'm doing great or not, whether I'm, I just can't do it. It's just not in me. And I don't get people who can sit there and bullshit people just to get something out of them. Just like Gary Lamb, by the way, whose time is running out, just about to get exposed, get himself in a whole shitload of trouble over $2,000. He should just pay it. I'm just saying he should just pay it. Like him, he came on and did so many shows with me, right? Full of shit, just to try to get just for his own personal gain. And that's exactly what he did. And it's going to come back to bite him in the ass very soon. I mean, I wouldn't want federal wire fraud charges, levied against me from a gifts and go investigation for using false information, to get people to give you money. I mean, that trickles down into YouTube, that trickles down into, the old state of Oklahoma and Section 8 housing. I mean, you could lose everything. And the question is was his wife in on it the whole time, or is she being forced to go along with it? Either way, he has no business running a relationship channel because he didn't have a relationship. He's a gimmick, a scam. He's scary scam, glam scam, scam-a-lama ding dong. That's him. That's what he does. And it reminds me of this.
Where's the money, Gary? Where's the money? Can't keep running no more. Yo, Gary, it's time to face the truth. Shelly needs a cash, no more acting uncouth. Pay up what you owe. Don't make us get rough. You mess with the wrong crew. Now you're playing tough. Where's the money, Gary? Where's the money? Better pay what you owe. Where's the money, Gary? Better pay what you owe. Where's the money, Gary? Where's the money? Better pay what you owe. Where's the money, Gary? Better pay what you owe. Where's the money, Gary? Where's the money? Better pay what you owe. Where's the money, Gary? Better pay what you owe. Where's the money, Gary? Better pay what you owe. Where's the money, Gary? Better pay what you owe.
Better pay what you owe, dude. You better pay what you owe. That's a catchy song, man. I think that song could be like a #1 hit, honestly. It really could. I can just imagine people playing it everywhere. It's so catchy. The song is so catchy. It really is. Oh man, it's gonna be everywhere in less than a month. So I mean, you should just pay us $2,000. You just really should just pay for this problem to go away that he created himself. Because Shelly and his crowd and everybody that gave that to that dude, it wasn't the only people he's ripped off. He's ripped off people. That's probably why he left New Jersey in the first place. He's probably running from somebody who's going to break his legs, right? And then he went down to Oklahoma and he abused another fan, someone who was trying to help him out, and used him up, and probably owes him a ton of money. So yeah, the guy's got it coming. But yeah, that's the whole thing, man. I can't be like that. Some people can just live their lives in the Gary Lamb frame of mind, and just like, I'm going to rip everybody off, and I'm going to abuse their trust, abuse their love, abuse their friendship. I can't be like that. I just can't sell out. And to me, that's the corrupt society. And that's what I'm been always against. It's like it's the corruption in the society, the brokenness of people that it's become normalized in so many different ways. And just the conspiracy grifts, are just one symptomatic problem of a bigger issue. And we're drilling down to that root cause issue so we can implement root cause solutions that last. That's what we do here on Learning Reality. That's what we do here with Solution Culture. And thank you to each and every one of you that are part of it and that have been here, that support the channel, that are friends. You guys mean a lot. All the new people count, man. All the other new people that are coming around, hanging out, being part of the crowd, man. I really do appreciate it. You guys mean a ton, and you're part of the based crowd. You're part of the solution, and I really do appreciate you guys being here, whether it's on X, on Rumble, or here on YouTube, wherever you are. Thank you for supporting the channel. You can really show a lot of appreciation by just hitting the like button. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you've got notifications turned on, and share it out. Let people know about this place. This is I'm highly a niche crowd here, man. It's like if you want base takes, but you want anti-establishment, but you want to support a better future, you want to kind of get things on the right track, you're in the right place. And so you're going to meet a lot of like-minded people here, and you're going to be part of a lot of learning and growing, and you'll be ahead of the game. Like even on this, following along, we've been ahead of even the conspiracy grifters. I mean, like you'll hear the stuff that we talked about tonight come out, next week, and a week and a half. They'll be like, oh my God, there was another, they'll find some way to sensationalize it. They'll put red sirens on it and capital letters and all that fun stuff. They'll do all that stuff for you, but you'll know, hey, I heard this a week ago. I heard this a week and a half ago. I already know the truth about this. Who are you trying to fool? Right. So yeah, real quick, let me see. Since we're talking about base people and base channels, let's take a look at Jeff's real quick while we're here. I happen to have it up. Why not? Let's just take a look at some of the stuff he has on his channel. Promote Jeff. Do it yourself, guys. An engineer, of course. Of course, he's an engineer because I'm an engineer. I got the engineer mind. Engineering runs in my family, and that's why I probably am the way I am. But yeah, look at here. We got the FIU bridge here, talking about that. Let's see. Let's take a look at his playlist. I'm sure he's got a very organized playlist, right? He does do it yourself repairs, remodeling projects. He does. Thomas, you probably love this guy, dude. You probably love this guy. Kitchen installs, remodeling, engineering, disasters, collapses, and buildings. Let's see. So this is all stuff that he's done.
Last week,
Oh, look, there's a Titan sub. Me and Badcore and I did a show on that. I wonder, do we use some of his stuff I wonder if we used some of his stuff when we did that. I don't remember if we did or not. That's the last time Badcore and I did a show together that wasn't gaming. We did Titan sub implosion. There's a bunch of them on that. He's got it all mixed in here. Is this recent? What is this from? Oh, a year ago. Okay. Let's see. Titan sub, First Key Bridge. There you go. Baltimore Bridge. Analysis 100% avoidable. Miami condo collapse. There you go. There's the one you want to watch right there. Going all the way back, man. He's got good stuff. Miami condo collapse. Ocean Gate. He's got tons of stuff. This is his oldest. I guess he's still adding stuff to this. Okay. He hasn't updated to most recent. Well, there you go. That's his channel. Go check him out. He's awesome. All right. Yeah, really? Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we did. He's got good stuff, man. There's the truth in that. My family was made up of mechanics. Maybe that's why I feel a compulsive need to fix everything and puzzle things out. And why I used to visualize what I can't see. Why I use sound to visualize what I can't see. Right now, okay, so you guys talking about other stuff. All right, cool. All right, I'm gonna get on out of here, guys. Thank you so much. I'm not sure about tomorrow night. I probably won't do Unveiling Reality. I don't have anything unless something comes up. It's going to be a pop-up show until after the election. So it'll be pop-up specials, kind of like Unveiling Reality, like I did last week when I unveiled the digital, the new modern digital warfare, things like that. So wherever it could be helpful to unveil, peel back, Unveiling Reality really is a show about mind control. And so I kind of keep it to that and peeling back the veils of perception, the barriers, the veils they put up, right, to cloud our perception on things. That's what I really want to keep that show about. So as that comes up, I will do things with that, and then in the next year after the election, I'll have new programs for that. That's some stuff we need to revisit, some degrifting, some deprogrammings, and then the Outer Veil series, which it kind of fits with that because it does have to do with where ideas and inspirations come from, but the meaning of life stuff. Yeah, the Outer Veil series will probably happen next year. When we get into the natural law stuff we've been promising forever, we'll do it then. But I'll be back Thursday with more election, probably the DNC wrap up. Anything? Does anybody know if there's anything going on right now? Is there a riot going on I should cover before I get out of here? Let me see. I'm going to check real quick on my my feed to see if there's anybody. I think Obama was supposed to talk tonight, so probably talk about that Thursday. He's going to get up there and bullshit and subvert everybody. Yeah, the whole massive protest thing just hasn't panned out. So I don't know. Looks like Michelle Obama's talking right now. We're not going to listen to that bullshit. All right, that's it. I'm out of here. Thank you guys so much. Wherever you are, wherever you've been watching, make sure you hit the like button on the way out. Make sure you're subscribed, hit the notifications. Thank you guys for being here. We'll be back at the early. We'll be back on Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern for another Winning 2024. And until that time, everybody stay based and keep on winning.
I'm going to leave you with this one final message. We're going to win the election. We're going to win it big. We're going to win it bigger than ever before. We're going to do things that nobody believed. It's going to be more important even than 2016. We are going to make America great again. Thank you. Thank you very much, everybody.